know how long that's been there, but it's been bugging me. It's kind of like the cookie.
Are we back?
Alrighty. So, as we left off last
Are we
week,
back?
in an entirely different place, a completely different place than where we currently are, in our previous studio and our previous lives, at a time that feels like it was several months ago. I also had all of the buttons in front of me, so that's going to be a minor change we're going to be adjusting to a little bit before. You may notice I'm not doing anything. I'm just kind of
Here.
here.
Yeah.
I just get to run the Age of Ashes game and not manage all the computer sides of thing, which is making 95% of my brain scream incoherently constantly. But eventually, once the screaming inside my head dies down, will mean that I can put more of my focus onto actually running the thing and not having to deal with all of the music and the buttons and all of that. I have relinquished control. I'm just here to roll dice and kill people.
What if there's a little squid inside your head repeating everything you're saying?
I mean, that's been there. That was there the whole time, so it's not different, really.
Okay.
He would
I
be
hate to tell
infested
you,
by
the screaming
zombie.
never stops.
That explains a lot.
I also noticed that when you said kill people, you looked directly at Colby. So
I mean, that wouldn't be the
It's
first
It's not my
time.
fault that Colby enjoys making characters that die very easily.
It's fun. I like to live on the edge. Well, they
You-
like to live on the edge.
You like to die on the edge.
I don't think it was very fun for you when Eleanor died.
It was not very fun.
I praise Centipede, and that's why I'm still alive. That's all I gotta say.
Have you praised Centipede? Do you praise
Not
Centipede?
once in my life.
Well, I think we
and
found the
that's why
problem.
Are still alive.
I haven't praised Centipede and I haven't died yet.
I believe it.
Somewhere in the distance, Art is
Or is alive. Somewhere in
anyway.
the distance.
As we left off last week, we had been continuing our investigations through the town of Kafla. The Court of Regents had saddled us with just a lot of various things to look into. And a lot of strange happenings, things that had gone wrong, just odd problems happening across nearly the entire suite of the 10 guilds that formed the ruling body itself. We investigated a missing person, a traveler that had come in that the Sentinel of the Guild of Faith had taken upon himself to try to find. We looked into a missing runestone from the Vault of Regents beneath their court. And the last thing we had done was we started making our way, rather, down towards the lakeshore itself, having gotten permission from Commander Bronzebeard to take a boat out into the waters of Bluecrab Lake and try to figure out why, well, the blue crabs aren't really in the lake anymore. That's kind of a very important food source, the town of Cobbler. They don't have a whole lot going on.
But
Can't really
first,
do crops.
we're getting waxed. We're getting our nails done. We're getting our hair done. We're gonna get dressed. We have hats. We have bikinis to wear.
First, you absolutely did leave off immediately walking past a barbershop run by a dwarf named Nadrim, who had apparently some very effective advertising going around out at the street level.
he was literally barking on the corner.
Yeah, he's got a barker, and there's not a ton of business walking by this side of the road that's coming in. You're passing by this right as you're actually starting to come back into the city proper, out from this road that was kind of ringing around outside Kovler, around the cave wall that encompasses the side of the city itself. Right as you'd come back into civilization, where there's some hustle and bustle, some people moving about their day, the fishermen and those that do work at the lakeside that supply this food for the town of Kovler. And there are a bunch of businesses here. This is the east end of the Traveler's Quarter, where it kind of just blurs down, and the ground actually drops down through a series of almost terraces, sort of cliffside dips more than a gentle slope, to the very small piers jutting out, forming the dock itself. And you had been... this is where you had encountered this random barker. Before we get into that, Raz, would you like a hero point, good sir?
Very much, yeah.
Tall Freed in the chat as a hero for you. Putting you up to, I have no idea how many because I can't see that anymore. One. All right. I do still have K-Dust here. I do still have the physical coins.
And while we're at it,
Long arms.
So I'm really glad you have incredibly long arms.
if you wouldn't mind handing over the points for myself
and
and
yeah, you
Marshall.
and Marshall have both also
Yeah.
gotten some from Link 1429 before the show actually started. I'll have to restock Hada. What is this? You guys have so many hero points. There's only one coin in here.
It's all right. It's a beach episode.
Not
Things are going to
supposed work.
happen.
You're supposed to have no hero points, and I have all the villain points, and then bad things happen to you.
Don't worry. Roisin will spend all hers so she can win the volleyball game.
Now you're
I don't know.
thinking like I am.
I'm thinking you're spending yours not to get a bikini wax.
The dockside down here, notably, is not sandy. The shores of the lake are relatively still. There's not a lot of a current that seems to be coming through, at least not this far out. They're not stagnant. You don't see any real heavy growths of mosses or anything along the surface or the sides of it, save for the very nearest parts of the shores themselves and just some little rings around the surface level at the posts that are holding up the small jetties of the lakeside docks themselves. But it's just stone ground. Much like everywhere else in the rest of Kovler and throughout these caves, that then just kind of juts down at a relatively sharp angle into the water. It's not really much for a Dwarven beach episode, has a lot less room for activities than a human beach episode, it seems.
Worst beach episode
But we
ever.
do have a barbershop.
We do.
That's all that matters.
So as you'd come through that, Resme obviously seemed very excited about this Dwarven man calling out the services of the local artisans, and I believe she was trying to get Roisin at the very least.
To get her eyebrows done, because dear God in heaven.
It's not my fault. I get them all looking all pretty, and then I get punched in the face, and the eyebrows just get completely messed up again.
Facts.
We serve all sorts here. We're located not far from the Travelers' Quarter. We deal with merchants, the travelers, tourists alike.
Bikini wax?
I'm not personally familiar, but I'm sure some of our artisans are. All kinds of surface styles, from Absalom far up to the northern lands.
Excellent. Come along. Have you ever had one before, Roisin?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Oh, it's going to be great. You're going to love it.
You got that look in your eye.
Come on. It's going to be fun.
It's like the cat who got the cream.
He turns around, he turns over to Marshall as you come by. And you, I imagine you look the sort traveling much the surface. We don't just have Dwarven beard and styles, we have all sorts. You wouldn't believe some of the fashions they're wearing out in the shackles these days.
I think I'll just stick with the traditional. Just get my beard a good cleaning and trimming the dead ends, and maybe just braid it and put the beads back in.
Aye, and traditional ain't got to mean
Careful, be hammered though.
traditional ain't got to mean simple. Plenty of stuff that can be done within fine Dwarven traditions that'll honor your ancestors right and proper.
I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. Razme.
What?
Should I be fancy with my beard? I can't believe I'm asking you this.
I mean, honestly, I think you should get your beard a little trimmed. I think you could do a little braiding, a little beading. I think, dear God, someone should do something with your underarm hair before it actually starts sprouting things. And maybe a little bit of a leg wax, because you do the whole flexing thing, and then the hair gets all... Maybe just clean it up.
I mean,
Just
And then the
whoever's back
barker's just
there.
kind of like, sort of blankly looking back and forth.
I don't know about all that, but
Doesn't want to step into
I'll at
that
least
one.
get my beard cleaned up.
Resme's gonna count how many people are in the back and kind of call them all over and start assigning them to different areas of Marshall.
Oh,
So are you heading into the barbershop
Yes.
proper
I
then?
think we're totally doing that.
So,
I don't think I have a choice now.
at least three. You, Trishik, Raz, are you
don't-
coming?
I don't have hair.
I
Are you
don't.
That's not what I asked.
You get a pass.
Are you coming?
I'll watch.
I'm gonna stand. I'm standing with your chic and just watching.
Perhaps I'll give you a good waxing. You can go ahead and buff your scales up a bit.
I think I would perhaps like to go into the lake rather than be waxed.
Trishik, you're excused. You always look perfectly groomed, just like a gentleman.
Thank you.
And as you come in, the inside of this building, which for Kovler is a little bit small, but Dwarven buildings, ironically, perhaps the opposite of what you might expect, tend to seemingly the size of the very large, making a lot of the space that they have by really maximizing how much individual buildings are. And frequently throughout the Traveler's Quarter, there are some of them that even serve multiple purposes, because the space between buildings is space that is unused. And when you are hard limited on space like you are inside of a cave, you have to use everything you possibly can. But down here near the lakeside, where the ground is less level and there's the buildings themselves, really can't feasibly be built quite as large as they are within the city. But still, for a barbershop on the surface, this would be pretty well enormous. Now, it's not something like you walk in and there are just a row of spinning chairs in front of mirrors with an assortment of various supplies. The area is segmented almost as an office. And at the front, where there is a secretary who is handling everything, as the Barker would come to the door with you and open, and then the secretary would take you from there, where they have various stylists and beauticians come and take you back into single appointment offices, single rooms, so that it's not, you don't have to display the lizard for everyone. We're out there doing whatever you do. So you guys are going to end up being separated.
That's
as you are
fine. I'm
taken
gonna have
back
a
to various
word with
places.
both of their stylists before they get taken back there. They're not included in this discussion.
You're like a mom getting her kids haircuts.
Oh,
It's school picture day, honey.
Me and Rashid are just like,
if we're doing a beach episode, we're doing it right.
But as you come in, and the secretary, who looks much like a younger dwarf, and younger dwarves are not something you would see very often. Predominantly, and this would be common knowledge enough that Dwarven adulthood, like their 18 is like 40.
40.
And like so they're not even really cut off of the leash or let out into the world to do their own thing until they are pretty fair into life, really.
So that would make sense for me because technically I'm 38.
You're literally not considered an adult yet for
you're
dwarven
like
society. You're like,
teenager.
you're like a 17-year-old dwarf if you're 38.
Well, we all know we think that in reality I think like a 12-year-old. So
I mean, yeah, I'm not.
So you're saying the secretary is sucking on a pacifier? Is that where you're going with this? I'm kind of confused.
But I'm just saying most dwarves that you would see, especially out like on the surface and those around, are generally older. Dwarves skew to much older. They live relatively long lives. Not elves, but elves also do not visibly massively age until they are very, very old. Whereas dwarves physically mature maybe at around almost the same speed as a human. By like 2025, they look pretty much like what they're going to look like, even though they're not really considered to become adults. They're not really mentally considered mature until 40-ish. So you really do only see what appears to be fully adult dwarves. But this woman looks like she could be in her actual 20s. Whether this is an effect of her profession or the industry, or it's the owner's daughter or whatever, not immediately clear. But she would absolutely allow you to, if they are willing, Marshall and Rasheen, provide instructions.
They're not going to understand half of what I'm saying anyway, so willing or not, it's going.
All right, so you're gonna dip this one in hot wax, and then just pull her out, and the hair will go with the wax.
This one is just getting manscaped. He just needs everything.
This one is also getting dipped in hot wax.
Save for the beard.
Naked dwarven baby.
I'm gonna need a trim, my eyebrows, and just a little bit of cleaning up on my nail bends. And then Severin's gonna need one of those hot, like towels that you put on people's faces after they shave. He's gonna want to snuggle in one of those.
And you would have all of the stylists here would be dwarven. But the one that would be taking you back to their office would nod a pretty wide smile on her face. Her dimples on her cheeks seeming to go all the way up to her ears nearly. Another rare sight in dwarves, almost blonde hair that she has pulled back into a single massive braid that goes all the way down past her waist, nearly down to the floor.
Oh, your hair is beautiful. How do you keep it so shiny and so soft looking?
If you'd believe it, it's an impressive amount of effort. Dwarven hair doesn't take particularly well to dyes most of the time.
Darling, I only sleep 4 hours a night for a reason. Do you think I get like this just like in 10 minutes? No.
You have dwarven blood in you, because as I've found, elvenkind's hair is very soft and simple and usually takes quickly and easily to anything we try to apply to it.
It's because you don't go adventuring and get blood and gore stuck on it on a daily basis.
With how much effort I put into this, I couldn't imagine doing such a thing.
Neither do I. How did I get here?
So out in the lobby, you have Trishik and Raz.
Neither of us will be dipped in hot wax.
Just hear my distant screaming
Just
floating up the hallway.
sort of there. And the secretary, after checking in the first of the three people here, would turn to Trishik and look.
No.
Well, we have plenty of perfectly fine, what would traditionally be accessory services, but that I should imagine do wonders for your scales.
No.
You could
I'm-
shine them,
I'm
buff them
going-
out right and proper.
I'm going
Draw the
to-
color out of them real well.
Sit right here and wait for the rest of my friends, preferably with Rez here. As you can see, he is mostly fur. It would not be good to cut him. So I will sit here and wait patiently. I do not need any.
And she kind of looks over to Rez and sort of looks him up and down.
Meticulously well groomed.
Meticulously well-groomed little rat man that he is. It's just, if you've a moment, sir, I can fetch the proprietor for you. I believe he has actually worked with your kind before. Forgive me, it was many years ago that I last met one of your folk. And I know you have a right and proper name.
Yosoki.
Isoki. That was it. It's a ring. See, I know you say it and I remember it.
Yes.
But if you wait here just a moment, the pair of you won't be just a minute. And the secretary stands up and heads back through this hallway that leads to all the various offices where most of your friends have already completely disappeared off into the distance to go have stuff done to them that may or may not involve a barrel of hot wax.
Rez, I will be here. You will not be seeing me. I'll go invisible. I don't want to deal with any of this.
Oh,
I told her no.
What?
I'm
What?
right here. Just deal with her for me.
I don't wanna.
Me neither. Is why I use this.
You got another one?
Unfortunately, is only one. Well, 3, but only one for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh, my cuticles. I'm going to look so wonderful after this is all done.
so as the secretary returns, she has a dwarf following along with her, who is relatively tall and slender, dressed pretty exquisitely, very cleanly. Surprisingly, given that this is a literal barbershop, the top of his head is actually completely clean shaven. His skin is a fair bit darker than most of the dwarves you've seen throughout Kovler. As, I mean, dwarves on the whole tend to skew relatively pale. Dwarves that still live in their underground cities, for obvious reasons, even more so. You don't get nearly as much of a tan from a couple of roadside braziers as you do the sun.
The ball of nuclear fire in the sky.
The big D for vitamin D. Yeah.
So,
Does that mean that, like, tan dwarves just spend way too long at the forge and they're literally cooking themselves?
that's
Yes.
not impossible. It would
that
actually
could
be
happen.
there would actually be, you know how we have farmer's tan, which is the funny meme. Dwarves have forge face, which is
Forge
where the
face.
front of their face
Whoa.
is notably darker than the skin on the back of their neck and their arms, which is exactly that. It is the fire
Weird
and the heat
shadows.
from the various, literally, like, around their neck, it just gets clean and dark where their beard or their face or any kind of guards or, you know, like kerchiefs or something you wear for smoke would block it out. But the top of their it's like reverse goggles. It's like the top of their face, they got this little ellipse of just incredibly darkened skin.
They just look like
For
a
the
raccoon.
forge itself.
It's like the reverse of a miner's face when they come out of the coal mines and just everything else that
Yeah,
wasn't
it's
covered.
it's
Yeah.
that backwards. That's forge face.
Ah,
it is
face.
it is the dwarven equivalent of a farmer.
They look like raccoons.
Dude, there's
Yeah,
actually
they-
a dwarven makeup thing. Like, it's like a phase that they go through where they do themselves in raccoon eyes.
Is it just rubbing charcoal on your face?
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it that way.
You could also just work at the forge all day, and then you have that going pretty easily.
Yeah.
But
You don't have to do anything. You just got to be there.
but this man seems like if he is not tanned, perhaps somewhere up in his lineage, they do just seem to skew a fair bit darker skin, because it is a notable oddity within Kovler, as well as the shaved head, which is very, very, very much uncommon among the more traditional dwarves. In fact, it's very likely that Marshall is probably the only dwarf that any of you have ever seen that has a shaved head. That is like not a thing that dwarves typically do.
I make a fort with war paint.
You can make a photo. It's very majestic war paint. But his beard more than makes up for the lack of anything that he has going on the top of his head. His beard starts with a pair of massive, almost like rolling braids that come down like dwarven mutton chops, coming out several inches off the side of his face, twist down into this incredibly intricate, strangely woven design of a series of smaller beards that seem to be more spiral around each other, occasionally crossing over a much larger singular braid that he has hanging down. None of it's terribly long. It probably stops around mid-chest, and you've definitely seen some dwarven beards that literally drag on in Kofler. But
Beard has beard children?
It's like lattice work.
It's like a fractal. His beard's like fractal
woven
beards.
braid
Falling into infinity, you stare.
That
Trying to think of them as beard children.
that belongs in a museum.
But as he comes out, his hands kind of clasped one inside the other in front of him. Smile on his face. Obviously, you're invisible. The only
I'm
person
I'm not hiding. I'm just invisible.
just invisible. You sat in a chair invisible,
Yeah.
so
I'm not
probably
going,
doesn't see you.
I'm not going out of my way to hide. I'm watching this. This is going to be funny to me.
The
So,
Yeah.
the side of his beard, rather his eyes just like grow like 2 times as big, and he gets really close. How long did it take? Whoa, this is amazing. This is great. This is cool. Hi, I'm
geometry.
Raz.
and he kind of leans his head up a little bit. They're straightening himself up another inch, maybe, that he can squeeze out of his height. Just he's not shying away from this at all. Absolutely, almost inviting you to look at this masterpiece that he has created. No, setting it up originally took me the better part of a pair of forge days. Maintaining it, fortunately, a few hours each morning, I imagine. But it's something I do proudly, with great joy. Northern, proprietor of this fine barbershop, and holds a hand out to you for a much more traditional surface handshake.
For a much more non-traditional individual.
And Raz just takes 2 hops back. I'm Raz. It's nice to meet you.
Raz, I had to say it's a very uncommon occurrence that I'm graced with the good fortune of a Yosoki visitor.
It's a very uncommon occurrence that I find myself in the Dwarven Salon.
You are any more of your kin, it seems. And only slightly less rare to see them in the town of Kofler proper. Now, this... And he kind of puts a hand just barely gingerly at the bottom of the main braid, which at the bottom of his beard is almost a sphere. It looks like it has to be woven around something into it, as there's no way that it could maintain such a perfect shape otherwise. But he very gently kind of cups it. You see it flex a bit. It might literally just be hair. This...
Can I disable device his beard?
The hole in the fabric of reality. It's woven around a singularity.
No, I'm really convinced he has a small child in there.
This...
Dwarves carry their young in their beard.
Like their kangaroo
Like
pouch.
kangaroo pouch.
They just beard it and
They're
they just braid it into a
marsupials.
nice hammock and they carry their young.
Like-
Beard children.
He's expecting.
It is egg. It's how dwarves are born.
They're a platypus.
They're dwarf eggs.
Oh God.
I felt bad. Now keep in mind, I'm a very large dwarf, so I felt bad for my parents if that was the case.
Are they reptiles or birds?
The implications for dwarven mating or something I don't want to think about, but
We'll save that
It's like reverse Avatar, but with beard hair.
we'll save that topic for another
like a
show
platypus.
that we'll never do.
No, like dwarven males are like seahorses. They carry the babies around.
As Colby desperately tries to change desperation tinging
just
his
makes it
voice.
worse.
I'll just leave. Smash his leaves.
Well, Mr. Bardic Lore, you know the most about dwarven beard eggs.
Yeah, and that's Raz has this whole conversation in his head, and everyone's voice is just like,
Oh
actually telepathy. We're all having this conversation
No.
in Raz's head.
None of this
God.
is happening. Anyway, as he touches his beard child,
Where?
I've spent much of my life honing my craft as an artist, and this is the canvas I have to express myself, which is a sad, perhaps failing of dwarven kind that we're graced with but a single beard. But you, my friend, your entire body oozes potential on every inch.
No thanks.
Raz, I am more than willing for just the honor to be allowed to practice my craft on one such as yourself, to not see a single copper from your purse for it. If only you'll give me but a pair of hours out the other day
Can
to make something spectacular.
I tell you a funny joke first?
I don't see why not.
Anaruxi in a salon. A lizard man, no hair, in a salon, a place with more hair. It's happening right now. You just can't see him.
I'll wrap my claws on the wall.
I'll just kind of look over to where his tapping is coming from. And I look back at the secretary for a sec before he turns back to Rez. This last did tell me you had a lizard friend. I'm afraid there's little more than waxing and polishing we could do for him.
That is what I attempted to tell her. She did not listen, so...
What manner of sorcery is this?
Oh, it's an Aruxi in your salon. That's what kind of sorcery that is.
He just kind of reaches a finger vaguely out towards where the voice is coming
That is-
from.
I grab something small and heavy off my person and throw it to where our last neutral chic was.
Just catch it.
And once you
It
have it, it
just disappears.
disappears immediately. So
Yeah. He's right there.
I was expecting Lady to come back and continue to attempt to sell me a service, so I decided it would be more entertaining to watch Reyes, but you seem to have better understanding when somebody is refusing service.
and he's looking like kind of a couple inches to the right of you, not obviously entirely clear exactly where you are. Well, as I said, we'd be more than happy to polish your scales up for you, restore some of the natural luster. But beyond that, most of our services, understandably, wouldn't have much effect for one such as yourself.
Is fine. I do not need.
Your friend, however, Raz, you look to me as a fellow artist. Perhaps not one of beard and haircraft, but one of words, maybe. There's a great deal of tomes and scrolls upon your person, and they don't look the magical sort to me.
It's all knowledge. It's a lot of knowledge. Lots of knowledge. So much knowledge.
And one of the mind.
Yeah.
As one artisan to another, I ask you, just once more, allow me to work my trade upon the canvas of your body. Something I guarantee you won't be disappointed with. Something to astound and amaze your friends when they arrive. And something that you in the future will be envious of the experiences of your past.
Well. You see, the problem with that is I spent 3 hours this morning grooming myself, and I don't want any of that effort to go to waste if I let you do it. So no, thank you.
Breaking his heart, man.
And he does look fairly well dejected for a moment. But he nods, some understanding. Hi. It's fair then. Well, you or and he just kind of looks again vaguely towards the seat where Trishik is probably sitting. Your friend, if you change your minds, are more than welcome in the barbershop anytime. I know, right? As soon as we're done with your friends. Again, neither him. And if you or anyone you know needs the finest hairstyle in all the 5 kingdoms, or anything they once might have been, you won't find it better than here.
I'll keep it in mind.
And clearly kind of disappointed. He nods, bit of a smile on his face, nods vaguely towards the chair, and then turns and heads back deeper into the barbershop.
I'm sad that the pushy lady didn't come back because that would have been
The
really.
pushy lady was here, but she's just
She wasn't
back.
the one selling
Nah,
it.
she's
though.
just chilling. She brought the owner of the barbershop because he's like, you say he has an entire body beard?
The only thing hairier than a dwarf.
Give it to me.
Severin pokes his head up from the hot towel he's curled up in and goes, "You're right, potty pooper, you are."
Wait, why was he in a hot towel in the waiting room?
Because this is where they left him. It's where they brought it to him, and he curled up in it and went to sleep.
No,
put
you
him
just
down in one of
requested
the
a hot
chairs.
towel for Severin, and Severin's not allowed to come in. I guess they probably don't want a bird
They
in there
don't
while they're.
really don't want a bird in there. Well,
That's fair.
they
don't
left
even want a
Severin
bird in the
lobby.
building.
At some point, they brought in a pigeon swaddled in a warm towel and set him
Set it
down. in
down.
a chair.
Are we cooking him in the warm towel?
Maybe.
Is like
He looks very happy.
is giving him a second birth.
Ah.
It's like being nested in egg.
Ah,
I can only imagine the horrible noises in the back room coming from both Marshall and Roisin as they're being
You hear that?
waxed.
you hear that faint screaming in the
just hear-
distance? I think someone needs saving.
You just hear Roisin cast one of her cantrips.
So
Somebody's about to die.
And something goes through the window because I'm pretty sure Marshall just threw something out the window.
as the three of you that do have some time here in the barbershop enjoying yourselves, the stylists that are assigned to each of you are extremely proficient. These are not simply people with a passing interest in any kind of hair and beard styling. These are absolute mastercrafts that Nadrim has brought. This barbershop down by the lakeside is a fairly high-class affair, to be certain. With the possible exception of Resme, who is very well-versed in beauty practices and probably completely aware of everything that she wants to happen. Marshall and Roisin, the two of you, would fairly regularly throughout this almost be continuously bombarded with new ideas and new treatments they're recommending, suggestions they have for this, that, and the other thing, for texture, for promoting growth, for ease of styling, for either coloration or bringing out the natural color, all slew of various products and services being heaped at you as this is going. And it's almost confusing, honestly.
That's not hard.
I think
And,
after a while, Roisin is just going to be like, yeah, all right, sure. Like, she'll just go along with it because she just doesn't really know what's happening.
And as what is definitely a great excuse for me to have the dice cams come up on the stream for a moment, because these are new and incredibly fancy looking, I need the two of you to roll me a will save.
oh,
Oh, no. I will say.
Not because of any manner of magic, just because of incredibly talented salesmanship. Look at them.
oh,
Mm.
dice dead.
Look
That's
at
beautiful.
the dice.
Look at those
I
dice.
made
They're
23.
not great number wise, but
They are clear.
you could see them on our regular cameras. Like I think they this actually does kind of show up on the stream here if I reach out over here. If I reach out and touch it. It's right here now. It's
Yeah,
so
no,
close.
It's so close.
We have individual cameras for each bespoke tray now. You can tell which number is up. It's so clear. I don't have to tell everyone they're banned from rolling anything that isn't pretty much black text on a white
Oh,
die.
wait. How well does this show up?
I don't know. We can find out.
Let's find out.
Give it a whirl.
I think you can see it.
Arcade says it's good.
Fantastic. I can roll all the fancy dice.
Yeah,
if
no,
I
you
get
can.
it.
I'm pretty sure you can roll anything on this. Our dice cams are at this
I'm
point. They're,
keeping my 9, though. I see you tried to sabotage me.
yeah, they are.
Hold on, let me help you.
They're dramatically higher quality now, so I don't think we have any kind of limitations on what you can and can't roll. Unless if you can read it in front of you, chat can read it on the screen.
I don't know
That's-
about this one.
That's
Probably not
That's
that one.
probably,
That'd be fine.
That's probably fine. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, the
but-
Age
so,
of Ashes
so
die is
what'd you
harder to
get?
read.
Fair.
What'd you get?
Altogether,
Yes,
23.
Yes.
I rolled a 5, dude.
You're getting all of the
you
things.
get into everything. Marshall's not even positive what it is he is or isn't agreeing to.
This is exactly what Marshall's doing. Getting bombarded with ideas. I'm just like sitting here with a potato. As it's like getting in my beer. I really don't care. Just whatever makes me less.
It's just starch to keep
Disgusting.
the beard straight.
So I have to keep coming back through and cleaning the bits of potato out of your beard as you have asked you
Oh,
repeatedly.
don't forget there's chunks
Maybe-
of gug.
Maybe please don't eat the potato while we're doing this. Marshall stubbornly refuses. Probably most of your business is just freaking cleaning it.
They said maybe please, not you can't. So he's gonna keep
And
doing it.
Rasheen,
Roisin gets a 31.
So-
and she's got the success equal.
yeah, I
crit.
mean, it's I mean, like you said, it's really up to you. You're cognizant enough that while it's somewhat confusing here, you get the sense that they're not necessarily doing this out of any sort of manner of spite, but you clearly aren't familiar with these kind of services, and they can recommend you a great number of things that will make you look absolutely fantastic, at least for a day, and will probably cost a decent amount more. But it is up to you.
I gave them the must-haves.
Yeah, I mean, basically, she wouldn't want to disappoint. Like Resume
They do
just
seem
seems
very
so
excited about it, like, and so
Yeah.
does Resume, who share they share almost Resume's enthusiasm here.
Yeah, Resume's so excited about it, so she'll probably be like, I mean, if that's what she wants, sure, we'll go for it.
And after the end of probably about 2 hours
Oh my god.
At least, yeah.
2.5.
of work, yeah, maybe 2.5 of Raz and Trishik just. How long did that visibility last?
10 minutes.
So you would have eventually just showed back up in the living.
We
the
would
waiting
have
room.
left by now. There's food.
Did you just leave? That's what I was gonna ask. Are you sitting
Yeah,
there
We're
for
not
2 hours?
sitting there.
When
for
they come,
2.5
out, we
hours.
just have seafood. Just
Eat your fish balls.
yeah,
Raz found 3 other people, and he started a barbershop quartet.
yeah. We found 2 others. Have you ever heard a lizard man sing? They coo beautifully.
Mr. Lizard,
Oh no, I went to look at
give
Frank.
me a
I feel like you
scream.
take your mask down and then the little thing comes out like.
Hold on. Let me take a look here. I've got a performance
He just
of plus 4.
he just plugs his lizard nose and goes, and the thing on his neck inflates and just whistles.
Across the room,
Eruxy bagpipes.
across the room, a girl looks. She's like, "Hi."
The bracers are
It's beautiful.
So, eventually, the 3 of you would come back out. Now, Resume, well, Marshall.
Yes.
Marshall
Oh, God.
would definitely have the most clearly visible transformation here, as even though Marshall does, when he went to meet the Court of Regents, he certainly had some thoughts, into his appearance, and you
Yeah,
put some
because
work
I
into
know I
clothing and
can
whatnot.
clean up. I just don't do it because I don't like it.
And your cleaning up of your beard perhaps was like a cursory braiding and maybe coming
Run a
out the
stick
worst
through
of
it.
the matted meat chunks
Meat
from the
and tater
things and
chunks.
the like dried wads of blood for the things that you have fought,
Well, good thing I'm
both
know,
theirs
naturally a
and
ginger.
yours.
So much starch.
So,
Start.
in a great shocking twist,
There's more
you
starch.
do not. Marshall does not smell like a compost heap, which is probably the first time that's ever happened in the time that you have been with Marshall all throughout your journeys through Ravenel and,
No,
and
he
everything.
took a nice cleanup before we went to the council.
Yeah, but like
That was like
doesn't-
dunking
Yeah.
him in hot water.
then he smelled like
This
a
is
wet
like an
compost
hour and a
heap.
half of just cleaning him.
Pretty
2
much,
and a
yeah.
half.
They get like
So-
a buffer.
His beard has been straightened to a degree that you would have thought was actually just impossible. Styled up in what almost looks like a much more extravagant version of what he had before, but near shimmering the red fibers of his beard. It smells great. He actually has a nice, gentle, pleasant aroma and not death and potatoes. Resume, generally knowing what she was after and obviously being all into this, would be certainly the next most notable here. Very well done up, but she has been very capable of doing things for herself before. So you've already seen the very dolled up Resume experience. And you've seen the very dolled up Rasheen experience done by Resume. And I guess just by merit of Rasheen has less hair than everybody else.
Everybody?
There's
Probably.
everybody
Well, I guess not Rixie.
that went to the salon
Besides,
that isn't a lizard.
It's literally she has half of a head of hair.
Yeah,
So
there's really only so many different things that you can really do with that. And clearly you have been cleaned up. Your stylist would have experienced pretty great frustration at the fact that despite her best efforts and a wide array of different applications of perfumes and things, still smell like murder and death.
She is walking a
I
little
wouldn't take
crooked.
it personally. I wouldn't take it personally.
A question about that. Is it that you smell like that, or the area that you like occupy just has an aura of the smell of a battle?
I think it's pretty
Or something?
clear that it comes from the Oracle.
now she
like
smells like
the
daisies.
Oracle has a smell of steel and blood constantly.
Now
just
she
there.
smells like steel and blood and hazelnuts.
There you
so
go.
it's like
There you go.
it's a
We
slight
call that war
improvement.
stink.
And though Rez may be unchanged on the outside, on the inside,
He's +1 hero point.
he has a hero points.
I'm filled with
Yeah.
delicious seafood, and I share some of Roshim.
From a sane 221, the little walking beard, please, Rez, we need it. You let America down.
I've been disappointing. I've been
Hilarious.
disappointing people since like '92. So
My chest is actually empty.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my
You guys have
god.
never been so stocked on hero
Don't you
points.
worry, I haven't rolled any dice yet. As
You
soon
got
as I
one.
start
Same.
rolling dice, I'll start
Yeah,
using
it's
hero
beach
points.
episode. Stuff's gonna happen.
It's been a minute since we've run KDOS dry here. Since you have been so well and properly stocked. I think the last time we had this many hero points across the party,
We almost all died.
everyone died. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was near the end of chapter 3 or book 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Did we get
Wasn't
that
it?
stacked in book 3?
yeah, we did. We got
no.
really stacked.
Oh,
Well,
no.
damn.
That's
Roll.
big thunder.
That's big thunder.
So
Ooh.
for anybody who couldn't hear that,
That's
that's
big.
all two of you. There's a really big storm outside apparently that we didn't know about.
oh, I knew about it.
You might lose us.
Yeah, please no power. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'll say it's
I don't
Florida.
know.
We're
There's
get-
a pretty big generator.
We felt that.
we're getting into the Florida spring season. where this-
Monsoon.
yeah, the monsoons
Yeah.
just come sheeting down at almost complete random. I'm not positive that the thunderclaps come through the microphones, but I feel like it does not bode well for our adventures today. We'll see though.
We'll see.
Anyway,
We're going out onto the water. There be storms ahead.
yeah, if there's I've seen somebody saying there's some kind of intermittent buffering that may be possibly this, maybe something else. Not positive. I could figure it out. We'll figure that one out on a later occasion.
That might
But,
just be Link.
Anyway, it could yeah, it has literally just been blinked, so it could be on your end. I'm not sure. Anyway, cleaned up, refreshed, well fed, Raz and Trishik. The group of you are done here at the barbershop and emerge back onto the lakeside streets as you had prior.
Roisin not wearing her armor because she was not about to strap that back on herself after that experience she's
Were you
had.
just carrying it?
It's in my bag holding, which is real convenient, I gotta say.
She's
Fit
probably a
full
little sore.
plate into a bag of hold. I don't know
interesting-
about
well,
that
the
one.
interesting thing
No,
about
full
full
plate
plate is
breaks
it is
down.
not, in fact, like a mannequin made of steel.
No,
It
but a
breaks-
cuirass is generally like a piece. that
Yeah.
it
It's,
rides
it's
over your
in multiple
torso.
pieces.
We've also got type 2s.
It is in
They
multiple
can fit
pieces, but some of
quite a
those
bit.
pieces are a plate that is the majority of your torso.
Yeah, a breastplate is actually like.
I don't think a breastplate is.
You could
You
carry the
could get like
breastplate.
obviously your greaves and your gauntlets and and your sabatons and everything. Probably most of it. I do not think you could get your breastplate or your cuirass.
Yeah, well, I could put that into like a rucksack or something like that. That's not a bag of holding rucksack.
It's much
There's
lighter
some
than full plate.
Well, it's more like she's not about to strap heavy steel onto herself because she's walking a little bow-legged right now, and so she just
Fair.
wants things to be light.
And just for a record, as we're exiting the barber shop, as soon as the door closed, Marshall does the whole like.
How was it? Was it fun? You have fun?
I wouldn't call it fun, actually.
Oh,
It was fairly excruciating,
I dodged a bolt.
but
That's good.
some parts of it were nice, and some parts of it were not so nice.
The
I can second that notion.
owner wanted to experiment on me.
Want to experiment on you?
He wanted to. He said he wished that dwarves had more beard, and that I'm the perfect
Oh
what
my
did he say,
goodness.
Trishik?
You look like a walking beard to a dwarf, don't you? A dwarven stylist. It's like nothing but beard.
Yeah, I said no. I told him no.
Oh,
yeah.
that's a shame.
Your heart was quaking in your little chest, was it?
Well,
I just screamed like for 3 hours this morning. I wouldn't want to go that waste.
I do believe.
But you do that every day.
Yeah,
This is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
I could probably just go back and ask him to do it.
Oh, do it tomorrow. Do it tomorrow.
I do believe that was a Dwarven proposal.
Oh, you got a proposal?
A dwarven propose. Is that
He
how it
seemed- He
works?
seemed absolutely infatuated.
They
No,
actually
thanks.
exchange beards. Is that how it works, Marshall?
I have no comment, and I'm just gonna keep walking.
He's
You
working
don't
on his dowry.
smell.
I can fix that real quick.
Don't.
At least let the work stay for like 10 minutes. 10 forge minutes.
You know, you raise an interesting question. If we have forge days, are hours as long as they are normally? I've been working on the assumption that they just have a 20-hour
If
day.
you think about it logically, the hours are the same. Just dwarves go by a different timeline. I guess for like, because what was it? You said what was it? 32 hours in a day in a dwarven day.
20 day, 12 a night. Yeah.
Maybe they just count their seconds like 1, 2.
Wait, they do it like bartenders. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I think for ease of playing Pathfinder, we're gonna say their hours are the same length as a human
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
So
For argument's sake, yeah.
for the simplicity of not
My mind's already
getting
exploded.
bogged
More.
down in
But
the
if you change
mechanics of
days-
their time scale.
Change everything that is based off of days.
Yeah, their
has to change.
calendar is definitely
So
different.
days affect
calendar,
weeks,
yes.
affect months, affect. You shouldn't affect years though.
Years are gonna be the
because
same. Yeah,
years,
years
are dependent on.
they definitely still. I mean, they still understand the concept of
Nick,
like astronomy and
years
years.
change?
So
Stop thinking about it.
No, 'cause
I-
if you're underground.
Get
what
on
I
a boat.
imagine, like, yeah, they don't
we-
have
Get on the boat.
seasons necessarily because they don't have great exposure to the surface. But I mean, they would to some extent
Whoa.
because they are still affected by the moon
Their
because they're
months,
still affected by tides.
Yeah.
Handsome
their
Banker
months
just
are
blew my
when
mind.
they clean the forge.
A dwarven round is 6 actions.
Whoa. Whoa.
I would say that they probably, while they have the 32-hour days, they probably still keep similar months and near identical years. The concept of like a week that we have is not a thing to them.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's not based on anything anyway. A week is just something that just kind of happened.
Segments
and
open
whether
up.
their months were always the same is unknown. But at this point, in the post-quest for Sky universe, while they still use Forge days and may have adapted their calendar somewhat, they do keep largely in track with the same schedule of months.
But do they like
know.
what kind of meal schedule do they go on if their days are that long? Like they can't
They
just
eat
have
4
three-
meals.
They eat 4 meals. Okay, so their second breakfast or something.
They have second breakfast. Yeah,
When you're hungry,
call
you
that
go
brunch.
eat, get back to work.
yeah. They wake up.
Or your marshals just eat whenever you want to.
They wake up and they eat.
Continuously, you mean?
They wake up and they eat something would very much still just be a traditional breakfast, and then they have what would normally be the standard lunch and dinner, kind of interspersed throughout the forge day. They have a fourth meal, which is like a post dinner thing.
Supper. Right?
Yeah, like a supper, I suppose. We'll go with supper
Dinner,
for
supper.
Simplicity's sake. That is almost at the forge night, or in some families at the forge night, which is really just like almost part of the going to bed.
That's not good for digestion.
You don't know about dwarves.
Yeah.
They don't digest.
He eats
They're
potatoes
constantly burning it.
constantly.
They do so much
They
throughout
swallow
the day.
rocks. It helps the digestion.
No,
It's
that's
like
They're like dinosaurs.
Oh,
lizards.
But they
gotcha.
actually have a small supper almost immediately before retiring for the evening. Would be how that works. So they have.
I thought you said they had a small upper before going to sleep. I'm like, I think that's counterproductive. Why would they do that?
That's why I'm here.
But yeah, they have their supper before sleep. They sleep for 12 hours. They wake up and have their breakfast.
Here is your good night
All right,
piss.
chat. We want a breakdown of the nutritional and sleep schedules and
I
like
need a calorie chart.
we're gonna
You-
need a chart.
You've been assigned homework.
You've been assigned
Congratulations.
homework.
Well, also,
Figure it out.
you would notice that through the couple of meals that you've had down here, the time that you've been, the food that you've gotten from the Dwarven restaurant. So if you've been engaging in some of their culture and their cuisine rather than just getting the surface food that's available at the Travelers District, Travelers Quarter, that it is very heavy. Dwarven food is incredibly heavy. It's quite dense. Everything seems to be very powerfully sauced, and the quantities, the portions that you would be getting throughout the normal day, like in the lunch and the dinner hours, they're pretty hefty. It would be something that for most of you that are unaccustomed to this would be kind of difficult to eat a whole meal and then think about going back to work and not just going back to sleep.
So what you're saying is
There's
they
a-
consider fish meat to be like a vegetable?
Pretty much. And just
Well-
for the record, Marshall eats all
Feels
the
pretty-
time because
pretty
he's also
healthy.
very large for a dwarf. So kind of put that into perspective.
Ask
of,
for the
like,
kid meal.
take what Marshall eats and maybe reduce it by like a third, and that's a normal dwarf.
But putting it in the perspective of the people of Kovler, Marshall's eating habits seem far less obscene than they did previously. Because it just seems like dwarves actually eat a lot of food.
He just eats potatoes constantly to make up for the fact he's not stopping for 4 large meals a day.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
They eat a lot, and they again, they're very heavy, very calorically dense, and you feel that a lot of the variety really does come from sauces and spices. Because a lot of this that you get is largely based in seafood, a lot of crab, and a lot of various lake fish. There is some variety in that, but for meats, not a ton.
It's all about the condiments.
It really is, because the things that you have access to in a cave beneath the earth are the stuff that lives in the lake and
Purple
mushrooms.
I love mushroom ketchup.
You're weird.
That's exactly what they have down here.
Is that an actual thing?
No, I hope not.
It could
I
be.
was like, you said that like
could
it
be.
wasn't Rez. You said that
Yeah,
like
it
it
sounded
was
like
you, and I
Colby,
was
yeah.
like, is that a thing?
Maybe.
I was horrified. That wouldn't be ketchup anymore. That'd be mushroom paste.
So what's for dinner, Trishik?
Mushroom paste.
It-
It is a
Tonight
thing,
they will
actually.
be making a nice scarlet thread with
Yeah.
crab garnish.
Scalp bandit.
Scalped bandit. There you go.
So you're all well dolled up. Well, 3 fits if you are. The other, well, 4 fits because you're also very well presented. We spent a lot of time on yourself. You just didn't get the salon treatment. Trishik is, well, he's a lizard. It's honestly, you can't really tell how much time Trishik spends grooming himself, I imagine, because
I soak in the bath.
it could be literally none. It could be 2 hours. You have no idea. He just has scales.
As long as he's hydrated, I think he's happy.
Does,
That's
do,
pretty much it.
do lizardmen molt?
Is on occasion is similar to a reptile. The scales, while and just kind of showing the arm and messing with it, it's taut. It's not like hanging loose. It's scales. So over time, you need to make room for more. But instead of being like a full shedding, it happens in like this scale's too small, and that because when they're born, they're gonna come out fully scaled, or they're in an egg. I'm pretty sure.
Do you like lick yourself like a cat to get like the spare scales off?
I suppose some of them would, the more wild ones, but I have claws.
I don't know that you
very
have the
sharp
tongue
claws.
for that.
No,
No,
there's a whole
you-
bunch of different types of lizard folk.
See?
Do any of them have tongues like that?
Yes.
They have like the sandpaper barbed scrapey tongues?
No, like
Yeah.
the gecko tongue. You
Like the
and it
sticky
sticks
gecko
to it.
tongue.
Yeah, it sticks to it and pulls it off.
So it's
Yeah, I
And they
mean,
go,
you
Yeah.
got it. I mean, eating
Yeah,
your
they're
own
just-
skin is a great source of nutrition. You're just taking it back.
you're recycling.
So
The circle.
the long
All right.
is yes, but not quite as
Not the way you think.
yeah.
This is like the National Geographic version
And
of
now-
our Pathfinder show.
Oh, we're learning so much about all
We
the
go to the
various
boat.
cultures of Galarian. But you, I imagine, would then be heading down to the lakeshore yourself.
Yes, we're getting that.
The dock area seems to be relatively heavily patrolled and fitting with how regulated everything seems to be. There are quite an impressive number of guards that are present down near the shore itself. Every one of Cobbler's near a dozen various piers and docks seems to have a guard posted on the end of it, as well as there are some patrols just going back and forth along the coast. Now, a lot of these aren't dressed much like you see the night patrols or the Guild of Arms soldiers that are out sometimes during the day on various street corners, as they're usually clearly done up in some fairly good, well-built armor, and Dwarven armor is quite chonky. So you have them walking around in what almost looks like the equivalent of full plate. You have that the half plate was Dwarven light armor that we had conversation we had the other day.
They wear rocks for armor.
These ones are much more lightly kitted. Sometimes with just what seems to be a fairly hefty chain shirt, but a chain shirt nonetheless. Some with scale mail, some seeming like they have not much more than just a traditional leather jerkin. But all of them still with that badge of the Guild of Arms visible on their shoulders as they're watching around. And as you can see, there are a decent amount of fishermen going about their business on the various piers. There are nearly no boats, and none of them are out in the lake itself. What boats there are small little jetties, little rowing things. Again, there's no sails or anything. They look like they can seat mostly 2 to 4 dwarves comfortably. The largest one they have looks like he could maybe fit 6 men in it if you get pretty tight. And according to your permits and what you would easily be able to quickly learn, communicating with the guards around here, fortunately, that seems to be the one that Commander Bronzebeard has gotten for you. But as you arrive here, you can see that, as I said, it's stone floor. It's kind of chunked. It's almost terraced. It cuts down. Now, where it cuts down into the water itself, it has worn and eroded to some extent. So it cuts a little and then has a bit of a sloped, stony shore going down into the dark waters themselves. The lights throughout Kovler of the forges and the street lamps that keep the city lit for travelers and merchants alike are much less present in Lakeside. And out here, especially once you get near the docks, it's very dim. Going out in the water is obviously going to require you to bring some kind of light source of your own. But you can pretty clearly see several crabs that are washed up around the support struts of the piers and on this sloped stone near the edge of the water itself, as it's just kind of loosely has some motion just from the activity that's happening on the piers itself. There appear to be a very kind of random assortment of crab corpses strewn up and down the area.
Like dead crabs? Like
Just-
not like shelled and like these are
No,
crab
just
shells, these
they
are like-
look like just dead crabs.
No damage or nothing.
No visible damage on them, no.
I'm gonna walk up to one of the crabs and pick it up and maybe a nature check to see if maybe it's something in its habitat that caused it to just spontaneously die, maybe.
And as you come up here, you got the permits to be here, so no one really stops you. You do definitely get a couple of strange looks from some of the nearby fishermen, a ragtag group such as yourself coming down to the coast and poking at dead bodies of the crabs they're trying to fish for here. Anyone who wants to can either make me a nature or a medicine check
Oh,
to
that would
attempt
be
to
better
look
than
over
for
these
me.
crabs.
I'll check nature.
Okay, well, it's who's gonna nature?
Can I bardic lore crab?
Sure.
Lord crab.
Everybody. So, you want to check what nature? What do you want to nature check?
Well, actually,
I
I
don't have
decided.
either.
Got nothing.
Nature.
Actually,
Nature.
I'm gonna do.
I don't check the crabs. I'm actually looking more at the water line.
Okay.
Um,
And you're particular dead crabs.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna use medicine. Instead,
Okay, well,
like-
we'll start with the Rasheen then. Give me a nature check.
All right, that's
not bad.
a 29.
With a 29,
That's a crab.
this. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clearly it is in fact a crab. It's very much dead, and it doesn't show any real signs of any kind of physical trauma. It doesn't look damaged at all. There are some superficial cracks and chips throughout its shell, but that's just kind of the life of a crab. There's nothing that seems out of the ordinary to you. What you would pick up on as a little bit interesting is that they seem to be relatively smallish crabs on the whole, which would mean they were fairly young, because crabs sort of just
Keep growing.
grow.
Yeah.
Theoretically, a giant enemy crab that's 20 feet across could easily exist by just being alive for that long, because they literally just continue to get bigger the longer they're alive. So the smallish nature of most of these that are left here implies that they're pretty young. Marshall, give me your medicine check.
Yeah, 6.
Much better. It's a 21.
One, you're pretty sure they are in fact crabs.
Dead
Yeah.
crabs.
They're probably all they're either dead or they're very asleep.
I just kind of dangle one in front of my face. What do you think?
Well, they're a bit small, I think.
Still good with a snack. Oh,
Just
and all.
take the...
crunch.
Oh my gosh.
He eats rocks. I'm telling you, I've seen him do it.
I literally spit out like a crab leg and use it to pick my teeth.
why am
No,
I
just the
with
claw.
you?
Right.
Oh yeah, good call.
So
But it seems that they're mostly small crabs, younger crabs. The older ones, they're not showing up in the nets. They may have all been eaten.
Hey, Raz. Will you help me with an experiment since we're going out on the water?
He's staring at these crabs. I want to use my bardic lore again.
Bardic lore, dead crab.
Bardic
All right,
lore,
let's
dead
go.
crab. They hopped.
It did hop.
got a 21.
Welcome to my
I was
life.
excited.
Literally came out.
If they use a hero point, this is the time.
I think I have one.
Are you
There's
really?
one
handed
peeking out
you
of your
two
vest right
today.
there.
Wait.
It's like literally, I'm looking at it. It's right there.
I do.
Are you for real?
I love it.
Yeah.
K-Dust feats. Delicious.
I got to make sure there's hero points for everyone else in the box.
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
421.
Yeah.
That's what I call
For the joke.
value.
Well, Bardic Lord Crab. They're also crabs. You can. I mean, there's. Here's the thing. It's like a 21 is not an exceptionally low roll, but like they're crabs. There's nothing really visibly noteworthy about them. They're there. They're clearly crabs, and they're dead. They haven't been beaten to death. Nobody spiked them through the shell. I mean, like there's not much. There doesn't seem to be much you can really tell by looking at them. They just are crabs.
Remove crab head.
I
This
was
kills
making
the crab.
sure.
The joke
Making
here
sure they're
is there's nothing to learn from this, and we're all just high-level people rolling at a DC 10. These are crabs.
Yeah. I mean, duh.
I think it's traditionally, what is it? First edition literally had a DC for a heal check to tell if somebody was dead in combat. So I mean, just making the DC 10 or 12 heal check to see if these crabs are still alive. You're all passing. They're not alive.
Don't you give up on me, crab.
I'm not losing you now. Just CPR the crab. Track. Oh, I have 20 strength.
Looks like the crab failed
Big
his death save.
So what I want to do is, as we go further and further out onto the lake, I want to monitor the water's temperature, because one of the things that's most likely to affect the breeding ground of an animal, especially in the water, is a sudden temperature change. And when you're dealing with places that might have seismic or underground activity, it's possible that some sort of fissure opened and there is warming in the water, which is making it so that the baby crabs might not be hatching, they may not be growing all the way. There's a lot of natural things that could be killing these crabs.
Well, that's a very great idea for when we're in a boat, but currently you're on the shore looking at
That's
some
why
dead
I'm
crabs.
I'm testing the temperature
Okay,
by the water.
so you're going to check how... All right,
I'm
fair
gonna
enough.
record it.
Do these
Yeah, so I guess I
crabs
don't really
come
need a whole lot of them.
pre-boiled?
Bye.
Not right, Red.
You're pretty positive by the crab that Marshall bit into that they are not cooked. They kind of bit that and just crab juice went everywhere. So Trishik,
All over.
what are you doing? I know you don't have nature or medicine or anything, but as everyone's just kind of looking around these various dead crabs, what are you up to?
I'm just kind of looking around, like looking out at the water, looking to the extent of
Yep.
the crab.
So without dark vision, you can
I have
really.
dark vision on right now.
Oh, you have the Google goggles on. Okay, so if
Because
you
we're
wanna-
about to go on, so I would have turned them on for this.
How long do they last?
An hour.
It's always so much longer than I think it is. I always feel like it's a minute or 10 minutes. Fair enough. With your dark vision goggles on, still you can see out into the cave a decent ways, but after a distance, the surface of the water just kind of blends into the cave walls behind it, and there's really nothing visible you can see out in the lake. You can see that throughout the piers there are a bunch of traditional and crab fishermen who seem to be working things majoritively with nets and pots. There's not really like a fishing rod kind of situation out here. They're not yeeting their cast out into the lake to try and grab something. There is paired piers that have a large stretch of net kind of strung between them, as well as what looks like it traditionally would have been used as almost a trawler that they would have rowed out. But again, there's no boats on the lake at the moment, not since the incident. So it's just sort of there. But there are predominantly at the moment crab pots that are going down. There's maybe 20 dwarves total out here working at various tasks fishing off of the piers. And again, as we mentioned, we were looking at the original map, and they're not particularly large docks. They would be almost comically undersized compared to the piers that you would have seen back in Kintargo or really even in Cypress Point.
I know
There.
they're using a lot of nets, but would it be possible for us to borrow a fishing line and rod?
The question would honestly be, would they have a fishing line or a rod?
Well, if they
'Cause it's
catch
not...
fish,
Yeah, they would have to some. They would probably have some. Give me. You get your permits to be out here. There's not really like a public supply chain
I
here.
just asked
so,
to borrow one.
if you ask around, the ships aren't in use at the moment. You could probably get a hold of a fishing rod and some line.
Perfect.
I'm gonna throw back a greater dark vision elixir.
Okay.
While they're doing all that, Rat goes, "Oh, we're about to go on the boat, aren't we?" He takes his hat. Gotta make sure I don't water. And he shoves it into his bag of holding. Digs it out and clears a little bit.
Hats are not made of metal. They can be stuffed into bags.
He pulls out his boat hat.
I think Mataz fell into your bag of holding.
He did. He's safe now.
He's
He's
safe now.
suffocating, you mean?
Well, he fell into the pet satchel I'm carrying.
He's got breathing holes.
He's got a boating hat.
He's got a bone hat.
It's even still got the feather.
I love it.
Always prepared.
Living on the rim.
Well,
Looks
Raz
very,
is,
very, very picturesque.
Raz is certainly ready. How about the rest of you?
Sheeny, do you want a dark vision elixir?
Certainly. How long do they last for?
The whole day.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, you should have been taking these every single day. Goodness gracious.
I only bought like a couple of them.
Oh, you paid cash for these.
Well, I made them, but yeah, I did. I paid for the ingredients to make them. But
I
if we're
see.
gonna be out on the boat, I think this is the day to use them.
You have a good point. Yeah. We'll keep it for now.
So down in that, we have dark vision on everybody but Raz now, I think?
Yeah.
Oh, do you
It's okay. He has a nice boat hat. He'll be fine.
It'll keep the sun out of his eyes.
Plus,
Yeah.
he's a proficient sailor.
Also, it breathes a lot better.
Your hat breathes?
It's a mimic.
You just hear
I'm
it
still
sniffing.
surprised. It's like, I feel like it's a lot cooler in here than it
You're
is
the
in the
only
other
one who
studio.
feels
But
like
like,
that.
I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe
Wait,
it's
there's
just
no
this side of
music.
the room.
What?
He's right. Where's the dwarven music? The awesome in the background.
Get a ukulele.
I had to go back into town. That's a walk. We're already here.
All right.
Alright.
So as you get on the boat, are any of you proficient sailors at all? Have any of you ever
What?
been?
I've read about
what is
sailing.
that?
I can sail.
Experiences with boats.
You live in Breach Hill.
I don't have profession sailor.
Unlike some people, I come from a noble family. I've actually traveled, and my brother works on a boat.
Your brother's a tree.
I have
That's
four
how he works on the boat.
Tree.
Throwing the mast.
No, 4 brothers. And one of them is in the Navy, thank you. So I
I've-
know a little bit about boating.
I've
Well,
traveled a lot. I've been on boats.
We have
See, you, I would believe, has been on some boats.
I've
Raz
been-
is the one that I
I
would
mean,
certainly.
Roachine
on
has.
boats.
We've totally been.
I was
we've
a
all been
smuggler.
on.
We've
You've
been-
been on a boat. You all took the boat ride to
I mean,
Kintargo.
don't you
Yeah,
ever
I
minus you.
forget.
I have seen a boat.
I know what a boat
I've been
is.
on a boat.
I'm familiar with the boat.
Yeah.
Last time you were on a boat, it's probably a truly nauseating. It's
I stayed out of the way.
Traveling mercenary. So
smuggler who came from the shackles to get to the Mwangi Expanse.
fair enough. Surprising amount of boat enthusiasm among the party. I guess that's the upside of most of the Breach Hill bros not
that is true.
Being
Surviving.
from Brief Show.
surviving.
Just for the
Not being
record,
with
Jack.
us. Oh, the music's back.
Roisin was a captain of a boat once.
Yeah.
Emissary.
You
Still
were the
is.
captain of a boat.
I was the captain. I had a captain's cabin, and I stayed in it.
So as you take this boat and ready to send yourself out and start rowing your way out into the lake, what is everybody doing? Rez.
Raz is actually just
Row.
he can't see, so he's
It
just
would very quickly descend into
He's-
pitch black. And you can
he's
just see the light of Cobbler back behind you.
giving instructions on everything
Here.
he knows and continuously casting
Well,
Inspire
Drink
Defense.
this. It
because he
lasts an hour.
just can't see. He's freaking out.
Drink this. Drink it. You little thing.
Oh, that's much better. You had this entire time?
I don't have a lot of the long ones, but I have some of the shorter ones.
Recalling knowledge.
All right. He's can no longer inspire defense and blind fear of the darkness as he just hears the lake water and splashes of the oars on the sides. And that would be about it. As you row out from Cobbler, the sounds of the banging anvils and the daily life in the streets would fall behind you pretty quickly. Surprisingly, well, you may think that it would echo through the cave very effectively. It almost seems to mute even more than a normal shore. Those of you who've been on a boats, everybody except Roisin, you've been out on one.
Oh, I thought you were talking about players. Okay.
Yeah, would have been probably impressed. Well, I guess players as well would probably also be how far out you can go and still hear things from the shore because the sound carries across the surface of the water incredibly well. But the structure of the cave that Kovler exists in, the structure of this entire system, almost seems to dampen and mute that. And you're left with nearly nothing but, again, the creak of the wooden oars in the boat and the splash of the paddles in the water. So as you're recalling knowledge, hanging out in this boat, which is debatably large enough to comfortably fit the 5 of you.
I'm small.
are you
I'll
doing, Esme?
navigate.
Okay.
I guess that would be seeking.
I'm not really positive what navigation there is
Well,
to
it's
be
like-
done at the moment.
Hold a compass and pretend you know what you're doing.
I guess I'll be seeking,
Let's
making
go.
sure.
We got a solid bearing that way.
We're gonna call it north. It's north now.
I'm gonna call it north now. North is officially the direction we're going.
Yes.
Fair enough, but you can be seeking, looking out into the waters, keeping your eyes open.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Sigil. Could I put that on the water?
No,
Just throwing that out there.
you cannot put your arcane mark on the water.
This feels like an is water wet kind of discussion.
You cast the spell and you sploosh.
How close to a wall are we?
Not. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on you. It depends on where you're going because the
We would be
Cobbler's walls do come in narrow to the lakeside. The amount. So whether you're just striking out into the depths of the lake or kind of following a wall north or south, that's entirely up to you guys.
we
you-
would
I mean,
be
you, if you're
following
navigating.
the reported route of the boat we're looking for.
Exactly.
It would have been largely like north by northeast.
Okay.
So you would be a fair distance from a wall, but not far out in open waters. Kind of following at a comfortable distance out. Maybe like 80 to 100 yards out from the wall once you really got going.
Okay.
It's not like, I mean, you have a rowboat. It's not going to sit terribly low in the water,
That's
so you're
fine.
not really super concerned about beaching it on a sandbar or anything. Rasheen.
So Roisin she's going to be seeking, but she's going to be doing it a little bit differently. So it's possible that there's cave lake pirates, I suppose. But if the crabs are disappearing, the risk that she's thinking about, there's probably something eating all the crabs. So she's going to take the fishing tackle. We're going to cast light on the hook, and we're going to cast that out behind us and just have that in the water with light on it, probably about 20 feet down,
Okay.
and just be trolling that line. And she's just going to keep an eye on that.
Smart.
Fair enough. That's big. So you're going to be watching this light as it goes throughout the water. And how far out are you, like how far down and how far out are you losing it? So your boat's not really breaking any freaking water speedway records here
I'm
being
sure.
rowed.
Yeah.
So
So she'll probably let out like maybe 25, 30 feet of line.
yeah, as you would start to move out further from the pier, you would see that the lake does become extremely deep. And while this light initially might illuminate the bottom of the lake floor, you wouldn't have to travel very far at all before it's just illuminating a kind of radiant sphere of water
Perfect.
underneath. Even if you're letting it down 20, 30 feet below the boat.
So the light has a radius of 60. I'd imagine throwing it into the water, you're not going to get that
Probably
much
gonna damp that
radius.
at least somewhat.
Yeah, so I figured 30 feet down would be enough for me to clearly be able to see it. And
Yeah,
then
I would say that, but 30 feet down, you'd definitely be able to see it, and you would be able to see this illumination that it's casting out. The
Perfect.
good news is since it is contrasted with a, well, I imagine not completely dark environment, someone probably cast light on themselves or a boat where you have a torch or something on the boat. But otherwise, an almost entirely dark environment. That makes it easier to see, and the water does seem to be pretty pristine. It's very clear. It is spectacularly clear. It turns out not having a current mull up sand and just random crap from ocean waves means that this underground aquifer here is crystal.
or an ecosystem based off of Fuckton.
Yeah, yeah, I think exactly that. I mean, there's even bits of moss that are growing. Like I said, you only saw them around the struts of the pier itself. That's because they're not feeding on the wood. So, and even that is probably just cross-contamination of something that's just come in from their trade with the surface, because certainly that hasn't developed down here. Yeah, it turns out we don't have moss. You don't have plankton. You have nothing that subsists on light. You have extremely clear water. You would be able to see as you were traveling occasionally errant fish darting away from the edges of the light, none of which would look spectacularly interesting or out of the ordinary. They would very much look like traditional fish you would see in the lake. They do seem to regard the light with some degree of caution, and generally not too long after they're illuminated well enough for you to really make them out that far into the surface, they've turned and darted away from it. What you don't really see much of are big schools or shoals of fish. It's largely just seeing coming through, occasionally glimpsing the waters.
If you want a closer look at the bottom, let me know. And,
You'll sink the boat?
no. I can either, turn myself into something that can swim or one of you.
Might be useful later, but I think that anything that be gobbling up all the crab around here will probably be going for that first, so I imagine it'll come to us.
Severin nods as he's looking at the light very intently, following it. Sev, no. Don't dive.
I didn't know he was a diver.
He likes bright things.
It's your chic.
So, big brain number 2. I can hold my breath for a really long time.
I could have just tied you to the end of the line.
I got
How?
sticky hands, and I have dark vision. So with all those 3 things put together, I'm going to be seeking from the bottom of the boat. I am the sonar.
Alright. You're just sticky-handed on the bottom of the boat with your dark vision. So even for you, even given the...
We're rowing, and Shushi's claws come through the bottom of the boat. We're like, oof.
No, the
That's-
sticky hands and the claws are separate.
Oh, okay.
He's got like sticky
I got,
Like
lizardy-
gecko hands.
It's
Yeah,
literally
it's literally called gecko grip.
Oh, it's
yeah.
actually called gecko.
So he's
grip.
actually got like sticky gecko fingers. Fortunately, again, with the rowing, the ship is moving, or the ship. I feel like I can't even call this. This is a boat.
I can
It's not
pro-
a ship. It's a boat.
I
It's
can
a boat.
propeller my tail.
Is, it,
I have quick swim and a
is
really
your tail
high...
prehensile?
No, it's like a crocodile tail.
It's like a swimmy tail.
Does this?
Oh, so you can like
Yeah.
flap, not so much propeller, but like flap it
Like,
back
yeah,
and
just
forth.
propulsionary force.
Okay, fair enough. You can help. He helps.
I can help.
He's wiggling his booty,
My
Basically pulling the boat from the water. That's pretty good.
paddling his little tail. Fair enough. While you're gecko gripping on the bottom. So even with your dark vision and the clarity of the water, a minute, like within a minute or 2 of leaving the shore, you would not be able to make out the bottom of this. This lake is massively expansive, and underwater, 80 to 100 yards out from the wall, which you'd be able to make out with your dark vision from the surface, just barely. It's a little past your light. Your dark vision would just barely let you see that there is a shape there. Because it turns out the lack of contrast from color, especially in an environment where everything is so similar down here, if the fact that the wall is not exactly sheer and is still kind of terraced and there are errant stalagmites and stalactites visible, you might not even be able to make out the wall with the dark vision elixir, just because there's no basis of comparison. And it's amazing how much complete lack of color actually throws off your ability to perceive depth and direction. Underwater, you really get the perspective of how truly massive this lake is. And even all with dark vision, this has got to be a generally horrifying adventure. Just on a general human condition sort of level. Tiny boat, giant lake, pitch dark.
Shares a room with Marshall.
Well, specifically,
Fair.
I'm ignoring the impending doom of the open ocean / lake / abyss, and I'm looking for signs of a wrecked boat.
Okay, fair enough. You
I
would-
also have a cape of I'm leaving if
That's
something
fair.
shows.
You would be able to tell, probably with relative certainty, that this was probably one of the biggest boats they had at the docks. And even if the boat was a size bigger than this one, it would be almost impossible to see from the surface if it were wrecked on the bottom of the lake, unless it was caught on a shoal or a ledge. And I think it's every now and then you do see sheer bits where it doesn't drop down quite so steeply from the wall, where the floor juts out and you can see the ground and you can see some amounts of strange growth at the bottom. Strange, just almost motionless, but sort of scintillating, puffy objects. Not stringy like your normal sea kelp that will be growing because they're not photosynthesizing. They're more just kind of puffy, some of them as almost like ridged. Looking weirdly would be almost like coral, though it's a completely different thing itself, a completely different organism. Marshall, what are you doing?
Well, because we had to do the math about the carrying capacity that Marshall actually has earlier,
Which is not 3 large weapons.
sadly, Marshall's gonna put Big Red down on the floor, close to him to where if he can access it and pull out old Slappy, he's going to be scouting for possibly anything that might catch us off guard.
Time to go spearfishing.
So as you're all traveling, you're all going vaguely out the general direction of where that boat had disappeared. You're all just looking for signs of
Anything.
something.
Anything floating,
Now-
anything.
Now, the
looks out of
difficulty is you know
place.
vaguely where they were headed, but I mean, this isn't exactly a high-traffic nautical area. They don't have, like, a charted sea map to show you exactly the planned voyage of the SS Dingleberry. So it's...
And I'll be taking temperature checks
Right.
as we go deeper into the water.
They just kind of went that way. An amount, and since they never came back, there's really no indication of how far they did or didn't get. You would have been able to figure out a general gauge of how far fishing vessels traditionally go, and it would take you 30 minutes to an hour to get that far out into the water, following the general path that this fishing vessel probably went. So, after that amount of time, quite some time out of the water, you wouldn't have noticed, Resme, anything notable about the temperature of the water itself. Trishik, Rasheen, you wouldn't have seen anything out of the ordinary. And Marshall, you would have seen absolutely no signs of any kind of threat.
Hey, Raz.
Yeah?
Are we... Can you see if there's anything that's changing with the way the water's heading towards us or away from us as we go in, as you're looking down?
Well, there really shouldn't be any type of current at all.
I know. That's why I'm asking you to check. Because see if maybe something's creating waves, but smaller ones. Something deep in, maybe like a really big creature.
I can look. I don't think I'm gonna see anything, but yeah, sure. I look.
I hope you don't see anything.
Same.
Looks over there. Sees a kraken.
Oh,
Turn around and give the horse the
oh
marshal.
no.
We're going to need a bigger
I'm
boat.
gonna keep an eye out for any weird.
There
movement on
are
the
no
surface of the
bigger
lake.
boats.
So yeah, you haven't had much to recall. Now, give me a, with your knowledge recollection, give me a nature or like it's just general. I guess you could bardic lore crabs again. I suppose if that's better.
Tides.
For a 34.
The 34, as you're making your way out of the water over the course of this hour or so of rowing, you're trying to, there's not much to look at, really. So you're trying to think of anything that could be helpful or useful. And your 34 in Bardic Lore Crab Biology tells you that you know that crabs, though they spread out over a pretty impressive area, they travel a lot. Crabs go on ghost adventures. They're kind of similar to a lot of river fish in that, and a lot of turtles actually, and that large masses of crabs will generally return back to where they were born to lay their own eggs and create more crabs. So by just the natural sequence of that happening over dozens or hundreds of years, you end up with what are functionally spawning grounds, where generations and generations and generations of crabs that have just been successful and expanded have continued coming back to. And if you're looking to follow after the loss of the crabs in particular, trying to track down a spawning ground would be definitely like the highest density of crab traffic area you could try to find. But that would require some nature or possibly survival knowledge to do. Knowing about it isn't necessarily going to help you find it.
Well, I think our best course of action is to find the spawning grounds, where all the crabs go back to lay their eggs and stuff.
That makes sense.
I have a little bit of on-hand knowledge on how to do it, but I haven't practiced it in like
I'm
8 years.
I'm a fairly good tracker myself. I spent a lot of time with the druids, not specifically a ton of it on the water, but I mean, I know something about crabs.
I'm just gonna pull out a piece of paper and it's like, yeah, this one. Actually, perfect. It has all the notes and tracks you look for when you're looking for crab spawning grounds.
Thanks.
Anything surface level, anything floating, anything at
Look
all.
at that.
That's very helpful, Raz. Thank you. Oh, that's a good reminder. I forgot.
Did you want any assistance with that?
Sure. Squid, when I am looking down at the water as we're going, do I see anything coming toward the boat as well as the wake we're creating? Something to tell me that something else might be moving through the water under us or around us a short amount in the distance?
No.
Okay. In that case...
That'd be something I would just tell you about, or at least ask for perception checks from the Seekers, where... oh, right, sorry, I forgot about the Kraken.
then in that case, I'm going to help Raz figure that out. Look for a likely place for a spawning ground.
Okay. So out here, you want to make me a nature or a survival check?
I will do...
And you can all hear this conversation. You're crammed into a boat together, which can really only comfortably seat 4 people.
Can I assist
There's only
with
4
nature or survival?
Are you doing survival?
I was going to do survival because I'm
You'd
trying
have
to
to
find
assist with
something.
survival. You could attempt to find it via nature, because she's trying to look for signs. When you're over this shelf near the edge, close to the edge of the lake, when
Yeah.
the shelves are higher and you can see the bottom, something that crab spawning grounds nearby, where you would just be using more of your knowledge of where these tend to form and how that might function in a cave system like this. So you're doing 2 different things.
Okay.
But you can both try independently if you want.
Raz is going to, since he gave her the note, he's gonna, if Rasheen's gonna try to use her knowledge of nature, Raz is going to assist someone.
Well, let's okay. So we'll get the survival first, then, while you're still looking and you're still scouting. That's
That's a-
either great or bad. Is that a 1 or a 20?
That is a 20.
That's a 20. I know that little thing on Colby's dice. I can't tell from the distance which text it is.
Mene. Oh, Nora's dead.
Maymay's 20, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is roll better on 1.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that was that it looked like Maymay to me. It's tiny, but that's what it looks like.
So what do you got?
So if that's a 20, then that's a 37.
So from where you actually are, an hour out into the water, you can see pretty clear signs of the fungal growths at the bottom of the lake, and even the movement of some errant crabs coming through. But this does seem to be a relatively high traffic area. It would make sense as the direction the fishermen went when they last went out on the lake. It would be logical that fishermen that have spent their life doing this probably know vaguely where the spawning grounds are, and you don't seem to be terribly far from one. You're pretty sure if you focus on that and keep looking, that you were relatively confident that you could guide the ship closer. So give me your assistance in the nature first.
I'm helping. Total of an 18.
You're not helping.
I'm helping.
You're helping in spirit. You're there for the moral support.
Hey. That's going to be a 36 with
With
a
a-
19 on the die.
With the 36, really solid rolls out here. With a 36 on your nature check, just seeing the makeup of what is below, what is like 100 feet below you at this point near the bottom of the lake. It does look a lot like the kind of ecosystem, the kind of environment that would be conducive to a long-term spawning ground forming. So between the two of you, you don't both need to continue working to navigate the ship, but if one of you does, you're both fairly... You can lead yourselves to a Bluecrab spawning area.
Oh, perfect. I could go back to watching the line if you wanted to.
Sure. Yeah. I'm I think I've got a good handle on this, and
It looks like we're in the right spot for it.
and I don't know. Suddenly I've got this craving for seafood.
Well, it's because it's delicious, that's why.
Just
You slather it in butter,
pull
that's
out
the
a
trick.
extra. I was saving this for
Well, it's
later.
going to be cold by now. Oh, the butter's all congealed.
This goopy.
Look, beggars can't be choosers.
Fair enough.
Besides, I could always. A little light comes out of her fingers.
You're going to try to cook it with magic, are you?
Well, I could.
No, I think what you could do is burn the outside to a crisp and the inside will still be raw.
You know, one of the listed explicit things prestidigitation can do is heat or chill something.
Yeah,
you can
that's what I'm
absolutely
gonna
use
do.
Prestidigitation as the world's crappiest microwave.
I'm going to do it right now.
Like the
World's
equivalent of
best-
like
best
slapping a
cantrip.
chicken until you cook it.
I am warming up.
It's better than that. Worse than an actual microwave.
Okay.
This is more like going.
I'm gonna warm up
Until
my
it
lobster roll.
So-
at about that time, my goggles would be turning off.
Okay.
So
So you lose your dark vision.
coming out and asking Resme, perhaps you have more of those
Lizard head
potions."
comes up the side of the boat.
Sure. These only last an hour though, so be careful.
It is fine.
As his tail goes to paddle, and I imagine Marshall on probably on oars duty here.
I'm the engine.
Reorients the ship a little
I
ways.
can't see.
Yours would have run out.
I'll give him another one. I made 12 of them today because I
love
knew we
how
were
the
coming
only
out
one
here.
That doesn't need to do anything.
Shelwood.
Dwarf.
Turns out
Dwarven.
the dwarven environment is good for the dwarf.
Dwarven privilege. That's what you got here right there. You guys would paddle around. It would take maybe another 10 minutes or so to come across to, while it's further out in the lake bed is much lower down, even lowering the hook on your fishing line down out to 40 or 50 feet down. You still can't clearly see the bottom. You can see plenty of other signs, because this crab spawn, like, it's an ecosystem, and this crab spawning ground, the existence of them being there, tends to cause a lot of other changes in the life that comes around, various fish and other organisms that come through. And with your, I honestly forgot which one of you was leading. With you tracking and following the signs of what you can see, you're fairly confident you're above one. That said, it does appear to be extremely down, and there's no real telling of how deep this lake actually is.
Should I go down there and take a closer look?
Why don't
I
we?
don't know if that's necessarily a good idea.
Why don't we send Trishik? I
you're
just
actually
tap.
Hearing my name,
I just tap on the bottom of the boat.
just come right back up the side. Yes.
You want to dive?
How deep would you like me to go?
As far as you can go. Feel comfortable with.
Till you find the breeding ground.
Give me a moment. And sink back down, and you'll hear the boat will rock a little bit as you hear me kick off and just start swimming down.
So do you have a swim speed?
I don't, but I have quick swim.
Okay, so you have what, twice as
It adds an additional amount to my swim speed, which I believe you can only go up to half of your speed.
Good news.
I can just look
I
at
know
the,
this one's CRB. Now, you know what? I actually really like the fact that I do not have a computer in front of me anymore. Because
You
I
can
feel
go
like
on-
this is part of the tabletop. Trying to look up a feat real quick.
I
But you
also
can also pull it up on your phone because it's faster.
feel like as you're talking about crab and like its
I have
natural
it.
biology, you should be talking in a British accent.
I do also have it, actually. I got to it real fast. So it is 5 feet further, 10 feet... 5 feet further when you succeed at a swim check, and 10 feet further when you critically succeed in a swim check. It will give you a swim speed if you get the legendary in athletics.
That's the point.
But for now, functionally, you are usually moving about... What's your land speed? 25?
30.
30?
I have fleet.
Then I think you're moving 15 on a success underwater normally. So
I
you'd be
move
moving-
20
yeah,
or
20 instead.
25 if I critically succeed.
Right. So that gives you a bit of extra speed. And the lake again is incredibly still, so you're not going to have to like actually make swim checks. You're just basically automatically succeeding at this point.
I have a 20 to my athletics.
I mean, critically if you're trying to get down there very fast, because like critically succeeding swimming is like swimming as fast as possible. It's like sprinting. So I mean, like if you're trying to get down there, you could be doing that. I mean, you would absolutely in still water with a 20 athletics would be able to just consistently critically succeed if you so choose. There's not like any duress or anything. You're just diving.
Yeah, fair. I'll just normal 20 foot go on down.
Start-
That's really fast, by the way.
That, yeah, 20.
That's 60 feet every 6 seconds. Move actions.
Oh yeah, I guess you get to the action 3 times.
That is true.
I mean, it's like
I move at a swim speed
I mean, that's
of
like
10 feet
a
per
second. That's like a
Certainly fast.
that's like a brisk walk.
Yeah, that does seem a lot fast. I feel like when you say the numbers like that, but yeah, it's not that fast.
I feel like it's medium fast.
especially given you have
You can have him roll a bunch of dice, and if he rolls a 1, he drowns.
I can hold my breath for 25 minutes.
It's a 1 on a die, man. There's nothing you can do about it.
Actually longer than
it's like dying in a
25.
cutscene.
Yeah.
Look, and
Let me see,
deep
let me
below
look.
the
I
wave,
failed my dice
a
QTE.
marmoset.
5, That's 5. Oh, you actually only move 15 feet on a success. It's actually only 10 feet for normal speed. You'd have to be speed 40 before you get an
Okay.
additional speed. So
That's
you
still
go,
45.
I win.
Yeah, so you go 15 feet
No. I
on normal
came up with
success.
Raz Rattenborough.
And if you were going the fast, you would go 25 feet.
Okay.
So you could swim quite fast. So that actually didn't change. But the normal speed is 15. So yeah, 45 feet in 6 seconds. That's more understandable for feet someone could take at level 1 and not just like every character is Michael Phelps. So
That makes a lot more sense. So that's still 45 feet.
you do have the tail paddle, by the way.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can still go real quick. Like you probably don't even. I imagine that your weird little lizard
They're
fingers.
just at my sides.
Yeah, they're probably not conducive to swimming
the tail's
terribly
doing
well.
all the work.
Because lizard hands are just like a series of tiny sticks. Like you don't actually move very much water. So paddling your way.
I have the
Down
grip.
there.
I'll grab the water and pull myself to go faster.
Wait, will you be able to
Make an athletics check to grapple the water. No.
will you be able to
But,
stay on the boat if you're going so fast?
That's appropriate.
That's a 1.
If you want the entire, you could bring the whole party with you. You could just hold on to the boat with your gecko
You're
back
not
feet, and you
wrong.
could just bring it. Look at the spotting
It's like the
grounds
magic
with
school
you.
bus.
Except we all drown.
So as you start to swim down,
Put.
it is going to take you a little while, and ever up in the boat, enough that with the light, now that you're at a standstill, if you still have the lit hook in the water at the end of the thing, you would be able to see Trishik making his way down relatively slowly.
I'll just grab the light and bring it with me so they know where I am.
One only goes out so far. There's not like they don't have like deep sea fishing line here, so it is going.
Would they have a line that would go to the bottom of the lake?
Yeah, normal fishing reels like a decent.
Normal fishing this way, coming out here is large coils of rope and crab pots.
Okay.
The fishing is like traditional fishing.
This
They would
is
be
like
doing a lot
fly
closer.
fishing.
That or,
Probably not that, but
that would be
like,
all of it's a lot closer to the actual piers. These fishing rods aren't meant to really be catching stuff this far out.
It's extension, so they at least see part of the way I went.
But as you go down, swimming down towards the bottom with your dark vision, eventually the bed would start to come into view pretty far out in the distance. Because again, it's very clear and you do have dark vision. You can see that's maybe about 150 feet below the surface of the actual lake where you currently are, and you can see that
I'll get
around.
there in like 30 seconds.
You can see it around about 75 feet or so down. At that point, while you are a very large lizard who is moving through the water, all other local wildlife and fish have scattered out because there is a giant lizard man swimming down through the water, and they're not interested in that. But you can see that the floor is much more dense, with an amalgamation of various growths of strange bulbous and ridged funguses. The floor is also very far from smooth and seems to have a surprisingly craggy appearance, with a lot of various clefts and holes, almost giving way into like a microcosmic cave system across the bottom of the lake itself. Exactly. The blue crabs would be all about laying eggs in, and this does seem, and you can in fact see quite a few of them scattered around. It's not like you go down there and the entire seafloor is crabs, but as your eyes kind of adjust to the depth and the distance, you can see bits of movement, crabs just walking around doing their crab business.
Probably still or so to just protect my eyes.
Also, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, you could use the goggles as goggles. They don't have to be dark fishing goggles. They can be goggles of regular.
They do give me a +1 to perception.
Oh, they still do cool stuff, even when you don't have the dark vision powers.
They're froggles.
But Debbie, as you see that down about 75, well, you're 75 feet down, so it's maybe like another 75 feet below you, so you're like halfway down at the bottom.
How's he
You
doing with the
can-
pressure?
The lizard.
ears are popping a lot. Lizard
He's
magic.
He's
He's
like
good.
got little lizard holes. He's chilling. He doesn't have human eardrums.
Yeah, there's no pressure in there.
He just closes his
empty.
ear slits.
Oh, okay, that works.
What?
Nothing.
Don't think about it. There's no Bernoulli's principle in Pathfinder. You're good.
He's Raz Rattenborough. He knows these things.
How's Trishik with the weather over there?
Wet.
You can see, also out to the side, those of you on the surface would not immediately be able to see it. But you can see a large movement out to the east of you, maybe 50 or so feet out. Something much larger than your boat.
Resume is immediately told of location of item through telepathic walkie-talkie.
Resme
And,
immediately comes back with, there's something very large and scary and shadowy out there. Please come back up.
And it would not be more than a second or two after that when the rest of you would be able to see, like, at the very edge, even a little beyond the light, just from the sheer size of whatever this is, something moving just out of view towards Trishik as he whips around and starts paddling his tail the other direction, I imagine, to work his way back up.
Invisible, not moving.
Can you do it again?
I had 3 times.
Oh, well, he immediately reaching to turn himself invisible.
I don't reach. It's an immediate.
Oh, it's a thought thing, right?
Yep.
You actually it's an envision that you do.
It's coming for me, turning invisible, hiding in place.
And right as you go to do that, you can see
Trying
a
to erase my
huge
presence.
head that looks vaguely fish-like. It's scaled, a dull orange up on the top half and near white around the bottom of the jaw. But this head itself, looking like its maw could open clearly and just eat your entire boat with no actual problem whatsoever. And in fact, it's not even fully closed as it's coming out from the edge of the light towards Trishik. Its mouth is already hanging a ways open as it cuts, slithering back and forth through the water. Gigantic, curved, fang-like teeth tracing around the inside of its mouth. And a finned ridge running down the back of its head and seemingly down the back of the body that still twists away off into the darkness. Who knows how far back behind? I think we should take a break. I think we should take a break real quick, like. And then when we come back,
I'm hiding underwater from a giant fish thing.
it'll be fine.
Theoretically, would this thing, you think, be willing to become a guppy?
Probably not. It's probably perfectly happy being the giant lake monster that it is.
It's another beta.
It's a aquatic beta.
Just saying, I could shrink it.
So, everyone, we're going to take our midstream break here real quick. Feel free to refill your drinks, grab some snacks. Don't go too far. Because when we come back, there is a thing in the water here.
It's the goldfish the dwarf magus guy flushed a few years ago. He was practicing on this thing, all of his alchemy and magic, and something went horribly wrong.
And it's not happy about it.
No.
And it's not going to be the Archmage that suffers.
It's gonna
It's going
be
to be
us.
you guys.
Oh.
Probably him
that is
specifically.
canon now.
I am ready.
Be right back, everybody. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Well, we haven't.
Use the bathroom in 2 hours.
I just did.
We just did.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what.
But that's every episode.
You're right.
And like an average workday. And a
No.
wide variety of other things.
I like to hold it until it hurts. So
What?
What?
Hey, don't
Man,
judge
Publix
the
is
man.
brutal.
you just can't stop.
I mean,
You can. You can stop.
And then I forget.
He has advanced radar control.
I mean,
Are you okay?
No.
Is this a cry for help?
Yes.
Do you
in all
need, do you
fairness,
need
I don't
Harold?
blame you. Remember where I used to work.
Hey, is he okay?
It might just be the stress of the situation.
It's okay. If you need to pee, you can go at any time as long as it's on break or after the show.
That's good to know. Thank you.
If it's an emergency, we'll get you a bucket.
It sounds like yeah.
Just use your backup hat.
Yeah, I'm gonna say,
Welcome
use the hat.
Put it in
Back.
the bag of holding.
Everybody.
Hey, Rasheen, how's the
Don't-
weather on the
Don't
lake today?
pee shame the rat, chat says. We
You
can't
had one
pee shame
job.
the rat. If there's one thing I know about rat biology, to be fair, it's that male rats actually like cannot really hold it. They like
Pee wherever.
well, I mean they can hold like peeing, but they do like a mark that they can't control. Like they always are peeing a little bit.
Actually, what you don't understand is that in the rat They're constantly looking for absorbent material to make sure that they are not sullying the place where they sleep.
Oh.
Rats, being clean creatures, do enjoy a bit of a cleanup.
Why are we doing this?
Good news is,
Because no one's stopping.
good news
it.
is, I'm not a rat. I'm the Silky.
I don't know if that's a good news.
So, as we come back in here, thanks, as always, of course, to Paizo for sponsoring this show we have here, letting us come and our Age of Ashes adventures on their channel. Sirenscape, of course, for what we actually got a great look at the sound set for the first half of this, where we realized we have music. Which, by the way, we don't have music again. And, oh, you know what? I can actually show the stream. I think we kind of tried to show the Age of Ashes dice before, and it didn't work super good
Oh, but we have
because
better
of the camera we had. But yeah, Paizo sent me these nice Age of Ashes dice
Ooh, fancy.
that I can definitely actually show in a proper dice tray now that you guys can see. And it even rolled the 6 for the giant fire. You can see what's on the high face there. They are super neat, actually. I like them a lot.
Yeah, they're real pretty.
We thank you, Paizo.
They didn't cooperate well with the previous camera because, well, the setup we have for the dice cam was not spectacular. New ones, this is dramatically better. So yeah, thank you for these.
The previous one functioned.
The previous one.
Was a thing that
Did its
existed.
job.
Hey, you know what else before we get into, I'm just delaying before I have to do terrible stuff to you. Another thing they sent me fairly recently that apparently exists and is also super awesome is they have a special hero point coin.
Yeah.
The ones that we've been using for hero in here are similar to the 3D printed like Pathfinder logo version, but they have an actual coin, which I'm gonna hope that if I put this in the dice tray, it's gonna show up in the dice cam decently.
I can hold it up to this camera if we need to.
Autofocus is turned off on all the cameras.
Hey, Paizo, because the economy is so good, can we go ahead and print some more of those so we can increase our economy?
The backside of it is a grumpy dragon man.
Oh, he's a grump.
He's a grump. You ever met a dragon in a Pathfinder adventure who wasn't grumpy about something?
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
The reluctant dragon.
Maybe. How many Banks of Abadar have we been in?
We used to have a joke back in first edition when we were doing the adventure path still that every adventure has to slay at least one dragon. Because I think that's actually accurate. I think that every adventure path in first edition has you kill a dragon somewhere. There must always be a dragon.
I feel like
And it's
We've killed a dragon.
I
yeah,
feel
we
like
have. We killed Drake.
Beat it. It counts
Beta
as
was a dragon.
Oh, the bee was a dragon. We killed it.
And I feel like it was just like a running joke among the dev team because sometimes it's absolutely hilarious how like randomly a dragon appears in the middle of an adventure path so there could be a dragon.
It's the most cliche hero thing you can do.
Well, it's like a fantasy. It's like classic TTRPG fantasy. You gotta fight a dragon.
You gotta fight a dragon.
Like, what
Even if
There's
it's
one on the
shoot horde
GM
in, it doesn't
screen,
make
like
It's
literally
on
right
the
there.
I don't know if you guys see the GM screen.
What if instead of fighting the dragon, though, he's like really constipated, and your mission is to de-impact
So
the
as we
dragon?
left off,
Why are you like this?
as
Nice
we
thought.
left off,
I like it.
Trishik, I believe, was approximately 75 feet underwater. And you can actually denote that on Foundry, by the way. If you right-click on Trishik, there's a thing in the top left you can set to minus 75. That's like an elevation
It's gonna be my health in a second.
thing. How is it already there? Oh, I can barely see it because it's over the top of Roshin's token. I see. I see. It
You
is
can
in
drop him in the
fact
water.
Yeah,
already
just
Now
put
we
me
can
off
see
to
him.
the
Yeah,
side.
drop this man in the water. Because as we left off, you had seen a creature approaching. And this thing is truly gargantuan.
Oh.
Actual gargantuan. Doesn't look exactly like this. This is just I want these numbers. It looks vaguely like this. But as I said, it's more of kind of almost a bleached dark orange on the top and pale underneath.
Oh, that's
You pop that up on
beautiful.
the. So, there you go. There you go. Giant circle of
I like the highlights.
very
Uh,
angry.
Marshall, turn the boat around. Let's get out of here.
Ooh.
That's what I was looking for.
Hello, pretty baby.
Uh-uh.
now remember, that thing's large enough, I would fit in its mouth easily.
That thing's large enough the boat would fit in its mouth easily.
Huh.
And as this thing starts to shoot out, accelerating as it approaches Trishik as he goes to turn invisible. From the darkness, you can see off to your right, more to the south of you, the second massive shape out in the water.
Oh, it has a wife.
And I'm definitely going to need you guys to roll me some initiative.
Malachite, carry me to victory.
Always.
Definitely going to roll some
Question.
initiative.
Because of the size of the boat,
Ooh,
I can
big numbers.
you.
Big numbers.
I mean, you could go.
Ooh, big
huge
numbers.
because,
Big
like,
numbers.
nothing's constraining you.
This
Just
guy's
be like,
ready.
if you could stand like wide stance on the boat.
That's a.
I'm gonna
If that's allowed, I'll do it. That's why I asked first.
I'm gonna re-roll my stealth
Oh,
for
okay.
initiative
She
here.
giving a hero point, and yeah, you were,
Going invisible.
yeah,
that's not bad.
you're not actually gonna be able to roll stealth for initiative immediately because you weren't hiding when it showed up. So you are actually gonna need to roll perception.
Okay.
You are trying to hide immediately, as it appears, but I think it's gonna be perception from everybody.
Well,
for that one.
regardless, I'd be re-rolling because that was a 2.
Fair enough.
So
So now, Raz, you were recalling knowledge as this started.
Yes.
What is your nature/bardic lore?
More giant, scary sea serpents would be at 18.
18, you say.
There's 2.
So what you can see here would definitely not be a specific creature that you are familiar with at all. Your Dwarven Lake biology is a little lacking. But the size of the thing seems to imply that as this lake goes further out, it gets absolutely, like, inconceivably massive, because this thing looks like it is well over 100 feet long. It does, however, look kind of similar to the woe of all overseas traders, the thing of myths and legends that is, you know, merchant boat, sea serpent, launch. And you would know that these sea serpents, in addition to seemingly being nearly impossible to detect before they strike, not just that they are uncannily sneaky, but that sailors have even attempted to bring like wizards and diviners out on the ships to ensure that if there are any colossal sea monsters coming, they would know. And a lot of the times this works, but inexplicably, it simply doesn't for many of these oceanic sea serpents. You also know that they use some organs around their neck behind their head for ballast to keep their head steady, because they got the fins for the rest of their body, but nothing for their head. And that frequently, if these are anything like the ocean counterpart, those ballast organs can be unloaded in an instant for an incredibly dangerous pressurized spray of water at a considerable distance, which is more, I mean, it hits hard enough to be damaging. It'll blow holes in ships, but it's also takes people off of ships to where you don't want to be, the wet place with the giant snake. All right, so Rasheen, what you got?
All right, so Roisin has a 23 because she's staring at that line and nothing's eaten it yet, so she's a little
Gotta look in
slow
the
to
other
react.
direction.
Yeah.
Marshall,
32.
32 is pretty all right. Let's see resume.
I got a 19, so that's going to be a 40.
Pretty good. Raz,
I got a 20, so that's gonna be a 42.
natural 20.
This side of the
Sheer
table.
panic setting in.
Sheer panic.
Trishik.
31.
Marshall got 32.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna see where we get.
I'm happy.
We see where we're gonna get for Snack.
I mean, I rolled a 10. It's not bad.
Snack the first is gonna be coming in. What did you get, Rasheen?
Roisin got a 23.
24.
Oh,
That's the distant Snack to the south, and Snack the second is coming in with a 32. What did you get?
31.
31. You got 32.
I got that.
Philly serpent.
Right in here. So if you want to arrange yourselves around on the board, the map here, you got this nice little extended thing moving implement.
I guess I don't need it, but it's neutral.
We
right?
could also move that screen closer. It doesn't need to be this far away from you. It is really entirely up to you where you want that screen to be.
Do we
4
get-
people on a boat.
Yep.
1 lizard, very wishing he was in a boat. Rez, state of blind panic, information racing through his mind. You're up first.
As he's reciting that, he's interspersing words for a spell Valaria Kilas. And he casts Wall of Force, but instead of a wall, it is a plane across the water.
Okay.
So that way there is standing room for everyone to be not on the boat.
All right. And how big are you making this wall of force?
So it's normally 20 feet tall, so it's going to be 20 feet wide, and it's going to keep going until it stops.
How long can you make it?
50 feet.
50 feet. So you got like a 20 by 50 strip
Yep.
underneath the boat because it can't pierce through the boat, so it's got to be a little under the boat.
Yep.
So it's going to be like knee deep in the water. And you would cast his spell. The rest of the party seeing a slight flash underneath the boat.
You can stand in the water. He's just
Right.
shaking. He's literally...
And I believe that's your entire round.
Yes.
Resume.
How far apart do they look?
They're probably maybe 30, 40 feet apart from each other because they're coming in one sort of southeast and one more much from the south. They're still at a decent distance from the ship.
Do we have minis?
You see, here's the thing about gargantuan creatures. No.
Okay.
They're very big.
Resme is gonna cast out. These are some of the most terrifying things she's ever seen in her entire life. So she's
These
going
dudes.
to cast out, and from the water, lightning is going to arc, but a huge chain of lightning, not her little electric arc lightning. Ventus Fulmina will echo throughout the cave, and that's chain lightning.
Okie dokie.
So they're gonna make me some reflex saves.
So Snack the first is going to make a reflex save. He's going to get a 40 even.
That is just going to regular fail.
Succeed.
Right, huh?
It'll regular succeed.
There's no way
Right.
that fails.
He got a 40.
40?
Oh.
40.
What do you mean?
Your
got
DC's
up?
got
Oh yeah, he's
40.
gonna regular succeed, right?
Yeah, I was
sorry.
like, there's literally no way he's spelling
Shaking with
Sorry.
fear.
40.
Regular succeed.
Actual fear. Second Snack coming in with a it's gonna be a 26. That's a lot worse.
That is going to fail. So
One's that,
they are
one's
going
that.
to take 8d12. So one of them will take
Four.
all of it.
Oh, wait.
Big Zappo.
That's right. It's D20. Sorry. I'm not sure where the other D12 went.
I get to write down health
Oh, but I'm
values
using
again.
it slappy still.
So I guess I'll just roll 4 and double it, and for the one that got half,
I mean,
they'll
we
just
are
take the 4.
snacks.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 15 plus 6 is
21.
21. Plus 11 is going to be 32, and then 64 for the other one.
All right.
Electric damage.
Yeah, the snake down the southeast taking 32, 64 to the southernmost snake, and you see this lightning crackle through the water. Far more conductive than the simple areas, jumping the great distance between these things and racking, shooting out some of these vestiges of electricity, zapping against the first as it kind of rides away from this, as it bolts down and shoots down the body, illuminating for a moment the sheer actual size of this creature that is largely still out of the light and out of view. This flash of light ripping off well over 100 feet into the distance. This thing's massive body flickers with electricity.
And then I'm going to throw up a shield, a very panicky one.
Fair enough. I didn't move these.
Electric
Not smart.
eels.
And that first snake, very upset as he twists away from the worst of this, is going to shoot forwards towards Trishik. And he seems to be able to close the distance from the edge of the light to Trishik in near an instant, like a praying mantis just snapping out. This thing's head juts the rest of the distance almost instantaneously. As Trishik flashes out of view, this thing's still going to take a bite towards him.
I wouldn't have been able to use it yet.
No, not yet. And as he moves, this lightning kind of racking around, his head pivots off to the side to more appropriately fit the lizard that he is coming towards here. I'm gonna drop a villain point into that one. And this thing, just for clarity's sake, the bulk of the thing is still what seems to be 20 feet away from you. It just out its neck and bites, and as it reaches out with its fangs, it almost recoils back, striking like a snake on land. for a 42.
Well, that is a crit.
Eagle launch. And as this thing's mouth just comes out and closes, you see Trishik almost entirely disappear inside the thing's maw. And very... We may look at first like this is perhaps better for you because you go past all of the giant pointy teeth. But the inside seems to be kind of surprisingly shark-like. These teeth extend back, the roof of its mouth ringed with successive rows of receding, piercing daggers of fangs that are absolutely going to rip through you very effectively. Very effectively. For 58 points of piercing damage.
I
Yep.
was actually expecting worse.
It was actually kind of a lowish roll. So you're all right.
It's still pretty bad.
You are. Do you need to be told you grabbed?
No.
Would you like a card that says you grabbed? There you go, buddy. And as you
No,
get
I
pulled
swallowed
in,
or grabbed.
grab. For now, because it does have to kind of get its mouth down and kind of secure, and that is going to, as it pulls back, rip Trishik back away from the boat 20 feet out, closer to the creature itself. And that will bring us to Marshall.
20-foot reach.
All right.
20-foot reach. 20-foot reach and grab is like,
You know what else has 20-foot reach?
is it a giant Marshall?
It's going to be Mega Marshall. So first, I have to hop off the boat and go a little bit towards the top right corner of the wall of force, I think, right? So that's my first action, is to move. And then... It's Dwarven time!
And Marshall gets real big.
Oh,
Outside of the boat, Marshall gets real
I'm
big.
so glad I made the. And it can support his weight. Whew. Magic is wonderful.
Magic is magic.
Keep in mind, Marshall was already pretty heavy dude.
Oh, now you're an incredibly heavy dude. But as you grow into this massive creature, still absolutely dwarfed by the size of these shapes far beneath the water.
Alright.
Yeah, dwarfed.
Alright, so bonus HP.
And then we got one action left.
Do what I do best. Get old Slappy and give him a smack for trying to eat my lizard.
20 feet reach is absolutely not even close to reaching these creatures.
I am 75
They
feet.
are about 70 to 90 feet beneath the water.
Oh, they're below. In that case, I have one action left. Yeah, I'll have to grow. It's probably going to see me because it's obviously staring at the.
So you also got light on your boat, so like it's your boat is very visible.
I'm gonna try and make eye contact with the one that tried to eat Trishik, and I'm gonna scream at it.
Okay. Well, he's underwater and definitely too far away to intimidate. You can send a message, although he is
Gonna get ya!
Trishik.
Well, I kind of can't leave until I get out of its mouth.
You're sort of stuck in its mouth.
But also just go deeper.
What?
It's easier to cut your way out than try and get out through the teeth.
I mean,
Is that
Is it?
that how that works?
Is it?
For me,
Is
I'm gonna try and
don't
break. I'm gonna try and break free of the mouth.
Okay. Now the thing, you almost have an advantage that the thing is so big that even with its mouth closed, its teeth have enough space between them that you don't have to like punch your way out of a jaw cage. There's actually space for you to fit through if you can force it.
Well, let's try and force it. And I guess unarmed attack to break free.
Okay. Versus his athletics DC.
Well, that's a 10 on the die. So,
Just sounds average.
you know, I have him for a reason.
oh,
Oh.
feeling lucky.
Whoa.
This always works out so
You
well
get a
for
near
you.
average and you hero point it. Let's see where we go. Let's see where we end up here.
Nowhere to go.
Hey!
Hey.
19.
Much
Oh,
better.
money.
I had faith.
So, that is a 42.
A 42 is he's going to be able to
Right
as it
Slippery.
bites. Yeah, you're a slippery little boy, able to slip through and back outside of the thing's mouth.
Turns out he just has a tooth gap in the front.
Yeah,
Like
it's
double
just-
Well,
D.
it's just a
punched it
regular.
in.
It's just like the amount of space between our teeth multiplied to a mouth the size of a house That's lizard. That's a person-sized amount of space within the teeth.
This is what he gets for not getting braces when he was a small lizard and his
So-
mother told him to.
Yeah.
But you can see clearly with a spray of dark blood through the water, Trishik ripped pretty well, but making his way out of the mouth somehow.
With how big this thing is, can I mount it?
I would let you attempt to grapple it with athletics, and if you succeed, instead of restraining it, you will just go along with it.
Exactly.
I will let you do
It
that.
can't bite me if I'm attached to the side of its
The
face.
age-old Pathfinder question. Can I ride it?
Well, I will certainly give that a try.
All right, give me an athletics check again. -5 because the second attack.
Use those sticky fingers.
Well, you know,
Use those sticky
I have
fingers.
these for a reason.
In all fairness, he did let
said
me eat
to
the slime
himself.
things in that one
So
fight.
we're gonna go with purple,
Much
Yeah.
better.
Happy.
and I'm just gonna go on ahead and cling to this thing's cheek, give it a little smooch.
Better.
So
It's like a 10 with a -5, but still on there.
33.
The 33 is this thing is whipping through the water. It seems to be quite mobile, and it's repositioning itself to face almost upwards now. It seems like not even necessarily noticing that you fell out of its mouth. But as it's moving around, what are just small repositioning movements to it are taking it feet and yards underwater, and you're not able to get a good hold of it. That's going to fail.
I'm tempted to try again.
-10.
I mean, 20s.
Invisible
Like-
is a free action, right?
Hmm?
Invisible is a free action for you, right?
No.
Definitely an action to envision.
Definitely.
Might be 2 actions even. I'm not
It's
sure.
just one.
That's just one.
It's like my creature.
Because I basically just, I think I don't want to be seen anymore.
Please no. What are you doing?
I mean, why not? I'll try and grab on.
He's
I'm
reaching.
along for the
He's
ride.
reaching for it. He's doing his best. And while you roll here, Raz, another
Yeah.
hero. You're 3 or you
No
2?
success.
One.
Oh, you spent one, right? You're at 1. Here's another one for you, Raz, for making an arena. Your wisdom results in hero points.
I got a 19.
19 is definitely
yeah.
going to grab the snake.
The important part is I'm not in its mouth.
You are currently not in its mouth. That is accurate. So the second of the serpents, down like 90 feet below the water, is going to turn, seeing the shape of, seeing the other one just go, just kind of eat Trishik. It's going to turn its attention towards the boat. And as it turns and pivots and shoots upward, it extends this fin that's leading down its spine, reaching it out. And you can see that the fin is actually ridged with barbs at the end of each little growth. And as it extends that, you can also see more barbs just kind of puffing out along its body as it slithers up, darting towards the boat before you hear a massive crack that thunks against the wall of force.
Woo!
And
Like it a hello.
Wow.
Get rocked,
it's
nerd.
underneath the wall. You know, it's big enough that, yeah, you'd be able to take a swing at it next to the wall of force. Absolutely.
Because I was like, I might.
Mush. Teeth just go scattering.
All right, old Slappy, do your job.
Squid.
That's a
30 as you swing down, your axe is going to smack through the water and skate across the barbs that it's extended. That's not going to land. Okay. But it is going to just kind of slam into this wall of force. It's going to slam into this wall of force.
Bonk.
And wall of force is pretty hard, but it is not infinitely so. Hardness 30, right?
Hardness 30.
Hardness 30. Exactly 30. So is it?
Wow. Does not break.
Wow.
It's like a bird flying into
Well, I
a
wouldn't even
window.
break. That would just be doing damage.
Yeah.
So it just boom, and a wash of water shoots up on either side of the wall of force.
like
as it
someone just hit
slams
the
its
bait.
head up into this.
Did you see that?
Oh my god.
What an idiots!
Valerian aquariums are like?
Rasheen.
I am so terrified. I think I'm gonna pee myself.
Oh, are you kidding me? I'm not scared anymore. That was hilarious.
Sorry.
Kool-Aid man.
Kool-Aid man in a real world, just crack.
Inanambancia, and she's going to channel energy in and again kind of grow about a head taller, and that sort of scarlet Lady Liberty toga dress will kind of appear on her, which gives me significantly better AC than like the clothing I was wearing.
You don't have your
before.
armor on.
I don't have the armor on right now. It's a beach episode. You can't have the armor.
I got the hat.
And
Beach is full of angry snakes.
yeah, angry snakes.
For
Right.
mechanical
Galarian.
purposes, consider me to be in a
Galarian.
Speedo. An enchanted Speedo.
Better him than me. Just
Plus
saying.
one speedo.
And with a single action quickened cast, Unfamedige, and whirling scars will appear around her as some extra defense.
Very nice. Alright, Raz.
Now, Raz,
Wall Force did good. Good ball.
we go bonk.
Put them in a
Not
box,
really
of course.
having a clear indication of how to fight giant serpents. He goes, "Good job, team. We're doing great here. I want y'all to keep up the good work. Today we're going to learn how to successfully murderize 2 giant sea serpents, lake serpents, thing serpents. He's going to multi-composition. I forget. Holy crap! Everything just left my mind. He's inspiring courage and inspiring defense.
Okay,
Oh, nice.
Inspired.
go team.
Yeah, you guys are doing great.
Rah, rah.
Just pass that down to the people who need to remember it.
I don't currently get it.
One.
Oh, you're too far
like,
away.
Yeah, you're like 75 feet underwater still.
60-foot range, so just get close.
All right, Resume.
Resume will realize that this is a beach episode and what is she doing, and will kind of take off the robe that she was wearing, but before they get to see her in her bikini, she'll blur.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Self-censorship. I love to see it.
To give herself
Family-friendly Paizo entertainment.
to give
Glamour.
herself concealment,
Okay.
and then
What is
she
that
will throw up a shield again. These things are terrifying.
You feel
So
fine.
we
You
have-
feel great.
A snack very underwater that is actually failed to keep Trishik in its mouth, and as you try to kind of grab and reach at it, it's
I
sort
also
of
failed.
yeah, you also failed to grab it. And it's gonna kind of coil around, almost blocking out the light coming down from up above, leaving just you in this black and white underwater battle here as it wraps its head back around to strike down once more. Still try to get back in my belly.
Nimble dodge.
Math. It's gonna be a 34 to hit you.
It hits. Does not crit.
Regular hit.
That's what I was going for.
Nimble dodge, doing nimble dodge stuff. And that is going to hit you for 28 points of piercing damage. And as it once again grabs on, you are going to feel a great amount of pressure as a monumental amount of water is just inhaled by this serpent. As it doesn't just consume you, it opens its mouth, closes, and then sucks down to swallow the hundreds of gallons of water that it's trapped inside of its maw. And this is against your fort DC, because it is a grapple. Found out, bonus to party, swallow whole, unlike grab, is not automatic. They do actually have to make an athletics check.
Nice.
Which will
Oh no,
almost
the
always
giant
be at a
monster.
-5 because he already attacked.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I don't
I'll
think
take
that's
it.
gonna matter.
Probably not, but I do have the roll for it at least. Can I interest you in a -5?
Matter.
37.
He doesn't crit.
I don't know if it matters, but he does regular succeed, and with that, Trishik's dream of swimming back out the mouth is going to disappear into the darkness. As well, you promised to go deeper within. You have achieved deeper within, as you disappear down the gullet of this thing.
Is it the southernmost one? That's
It's the one, yeah, 80 feet down still. It
Gotcha.
hasn't come up. It's actually using all 3 of its actions to do this. You are going to take an additional 19 points of bludgeoning damage as you are swallowed. And Marshall, it is your turn.
So there's one that's like 80 feet down that I definitely can't reach, but the other one that bonked itself in the wall of force is still somewhat close to me.
It has bonked, and there is enough of this thing's giant mass around that you can just kind of swipe in its general direction with your with Big Slappy.
With old Slappy, I'm gonna give him a slap. And I'm going to gladly refocus my grip on old Slappy so I can do better.
You gotta stab. It's a harpoon. This is fishing. You gotta stab
I'm
with
sorry.
it.
Hold on, I gotta stroke the There she blows. The white whale. Much better, and it's a +1 because of the inspire, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's 19 on the die plus my 22,
Ooh.
41,
41 will hit.
and that's a hit.
You're
Yep.
keen. No, you're not keen on that one.
Nope, it's
Dang
big
it.
red.
Keen
Well,
on
that
Big
was an
Red.
18 anyways.
It was an 18 plus 1 from.
Oh,
But it's gotta be
so
natural
yeah,
on
you
the
said
die.
19 on the die, so I thought you rolled a 19. Yeah, okay. So it hits normally though.
It's still 2d10 plus 17.
He's a good hit, and this is the one that took a whole lot of lightning too, so he's not feeling super great.
That is going to be. So that is 30. No, yeah, 31. 31 points of damage.
Don't forget the +1 to damage.
Oh, I'm sorry.
32 points of damage.
32 points of damage as he, does the whole stabby thing. With,
So between this thing taking this blast of lightning and you skewering it with your halberd, you've mounted what would be an absolutely crippling amount of damage on a normal person. But again, much like the purple worm, this thing just seems like it is so large that this damage is almost superficial to it. It's clear that you've done all of this damage. Like, you can see the massive ragged hole where your halberd pierced through its hide, but there's so much snake, it's like a paper cut to this.
That is. I just realized I did math wrong on that, but that's okay. Well, gonna attempt to stab it again. -5. But I
Hey,
think
That
worked.
works. Not how the tower's supposed to work, but it does function.
I'm gonna regrip and do it again. Because we're not playing this game.
I'm gonna fish, damn it.
Natural 20.
Natural 20.
It always pays off.
Dude, he's on a boat. He went fishing. Did you think this wouldn't work?
I wish I could quote Moby Dick right now.
And there's a 6 and a 9 on the die.
You want me to add that for you?
So that's 15 plus 17, so that's 32 plus the 1, so that's 33 times 2.
You didn't re-roll a 4, did you?
66.
No, it was a 6.
Okay, because that was about to be 42069.
Stop. 66
It was one number
points
off.
of damage. And
And what's this weapon specialization for Albert?
I have literally no idea.
No.
5 foot.
Oh,
5
yeah,
foot
you
move.
can move him 5 feet.
Any
You-
direction you want.
I'm
you-
gonna pull him closer.
Okay.
Wall.
Bonk. You can't really super do that.
So
But,
if anything, the way I do it specifically is after the second attack, I use the hook part of the blade to just kind of sink it into his flesh and pull him into the wall and kind of just force bonk him into it. And then
Marshall got a kick out of that.
You've successfully harpooned the 150-foot-long sea serpent, and
I'm gonna go for broke with my last
it's
action.
very, now at this point, very injured now that this massive halberd is fully pierced through its hide. And it is just writhing against the wall of force.
And I'm gonna-
Almost
it was
another
on
20.
a 20, and the lip rolled it.
Yep.
The lip is the enemy.
You can't just only roll
I did my
twice.
job,
That's-
okay?
You can't do
pick
that.
the numbers.
It's illegal. You can't pick the numbers. Trishik.
Well,
It's very dark and cramped, and you feel that you're being really crushed down this gullet. Although it is massive, like the thing's esophagus is huge. The water that's swirling around inside is just battering you against the walls, and it's not great. You are, while realistically you feasibly have space, there's so much force that you are functionally still restrained and constrained inside this thing.
I'm gonna roll to perform a manipulate action.
Okay. DC 5. It's a 3.
That's a 3, so I don't get to do it, but because I can't activate it, I don't lose my cloak.
Hey, you reach for the cloak to try and mount a bank out, but you
That's
just
the
can't.
fun thing about magic items. It's not like a spell. I didn't even
Yeah,
activate.
you didn't even get to it, so like you can't get a hold of it. 2
So-
actions left.
Using the cloak is 2 actions. Do I lose both, or since I didn't get to do it, is it just
If
one?
it was 2, I think you lose the 2 actions because you lose the activity you were trying to do. So you have
Okay.
1 action left. Sorry, my bad.
Well,
That was on me.
I'm going to rip its insides. On the
Claw?
way down, I'm just going to put my claws out.
Mechanics have not worked. Claw wildly. We'll go with the flying cat stance.
For a 35.
35. I mean, you're ripping through its esophagus. Now it's incredibly thick.
Is
This
it
thing.
flat-footed?
No.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
It's incredibly thick on the inside, so your claws aren't like tearing its ribbons, or you are goring through it to some extent.
13 damage. Slashing.
The big numbers.
Damage, and that is not gonna be enough to rip you free. Which means
I
that
don't think I can do enough.
you are going to take 20 points of bludgeoning damage in the your turn. So the one up top is having a really bad time. It's stuck under it doesn't know what. There is a magic man stabbing it, standing on the water, and it can't get up there. So it just kind of rides around wildly, trying to get away from this position where it can do anything. You're going to see this thing is almost kind of coiled up now beneath the wall of force. The whole of this thing's bulk swirling beneath it. The tail end of it, as it comes up, quite literally whipping up out of the water, some a dozen yards away, slapping out towards Marshall, almost seemingly accidentally getting around the wall of force.
It's frustrated.
This tail's going to swing at you for up 42 again.
Wow. That is a crit.
And it's going to hit you so hard that I actually get a villain point.
Whoa. That's existential
From
right
Max,
there.
from Max Penguin here. That is a inconceivable amount of force. So as this tail smashes into you,
Do it.
you can do it,
Oh,
Snack.
wait, I actually have the armor rune on, so I can roll to possibly prevent.
You do not. Do you have
Fortification,
that
right?
already? Have you
Yeah.
done that?
No, we haven't gotten any of the stuff
I
yet.
don't think that
I
happened.
thought we did.
I know. I still
have
haven't got stuff of healing.
We
None of
talked
us have
about,
actually
yeah,
been
we
given any of that
talked about
stuff.
getting
I-
some
I-
stuff,
I-
but done it yet.
Believe
so
me.
you don't actually have that at the
Oh.
moment.
I would have made Nick blush
Um,
by now.
I thought we did that already.
You are going to take math.
That
That
what
is
the
the
snake
ultimate
said.
damage.
66 points of bludgeoning damage.
Right.
Distant.
Yep, you got how much resistance do you get?
7.
So 59 points of bludgeoning damage.
Crap.
As his tail constricts around Marshall, yanking him off the horse and pulling him. It's not able to like whip him up in the air or anything, but pulling him off the edge of the wall of force and into the water itself.
Oh, that's not good.
He's at like the surface of the water right next to it, but he's there. And then as it's got him held, the thing is going to twist around, and you're going to see the underneath the wall of force, all of you can see this huge maw come shooting through the tangle of its own body towards Marshall, held in the thing's tail. So you are flat-footed from being grabbed. I have another grabbed card for you. I have plenty, don't worry. I came with plenty of grabbed cards. These are prone cards. These are grabbed cards. They're both purple. It's hard to tell them apart at a moment's notice.
Okay.
There he goes. Bye, Marshall. Nice dip.
Thanks.
You're doing great.
-5 for the second attack. It's only going to be a 29 against your flat-footed.
That still hits.
Okay, regular
It
hit.
goes down to it's just a regular hit. Though.
If a 29 is critting, something is very
We have done something
We have a
catastrophically
level
wrong
1
in our character
character.
creation. Yeah, you could be naked and a 29 shouldn't crit you at this point. Which is kind of funny because most of your XP is actually proficient, or AC is proficiency at this point. So like you could literally be naked and you'd go down like what 4 or 5 AC.
I mean,
I
not with
lose
Roshin
nothing.
if I drop my heavy armor, because then that's a
Yeah,
lot.
6 plus your runes is 7.
Yeah.
You go down 7.
It's 8, actually. I have a +2 rune.
You +2 rune 8. Okay, yeah, you still okay. You go down 8.
It
That's
hurts a lot.
It's a
to drop.
decent drop.
That's why
But it's
cast-
8 to like 26. So it's
Roshin in a bikini is hard to hit. What can I say?
fantasy armor. The
Yeah.
bikini is better than level 1 full plate.
Distraction save.
It's gonna hit you for 36 points of piercing damage
You have resistance.
as it
No,
bites
not
into you.
piercing,
You've
Uh,
got
you
that
have
resistance.
resistance.
You've
You've
got
got
Bard's
resistance 3.
resistance 3.
So 3 less than that.
So 33 instead of 36 damage.
Yes, that's the number that I said, then yes. I immediately forgot what number I said. And that's all of his actions. Rasheen. That's slappy, pulley, bitey.
Hang in there, Marshall.
You're like on the surface of the water. He didn't like pull you under or anything.
Oh.
Because you just up, it pulls you up next to it. So you're probably like
on the very edge of it.
yeah, you're like getting splashed in the water.
Yeah.
So Roshin's going to sprint off the boat really quick in her Righteous Might form. Get a speed of 40. And I'm going to move right up to the edge of the wall of force. Can I reach this thing from where I am? I've only got a 5-foot reach.
If you get to the edge, yeah.
Okay, she will do that.
Well, you have to get up past Marshall, but 'cause
Is deep blocking me, or
I guess he's kind of in the water at this point. Yeah, you can run up next to Marshall on the wall force and just swing at it because the thing's like wrapped around him plenty. So
perfect? Whack it. Okay, that's let's see. Righteous Armament has plus 20 minutes at 32 to hit.
32 is going to graze across its scale. It's going to cut through, but only superficially.
Huh.
Well, that might not be super lucky. Marshall, as you roaring your battle cry, a potato flies out of your bag into your mouth, and as you munch on it, you feel a little bit luckier. Darkheart, 1985, gifting you a hero point. Good
Thanks,
sir.
Darkheart. I appreciate that tater.
Yeah, 32 is not going to hit.
Huh. Well,
Again, it's just like
try-
it's so big. You have to get such a resounding blow to really do meaningful damage.
I do. I'll try again. I'm right up next to it. I've got. I could cast shield.
That's
It's
one
looking at
action,
Marshall. Let me just go whack it.
Eating Marshall. really
Eating
is
Marshall is what
what's
it's saying. That's only an 11 on the die, so that's going to be less. Yeah, that's a 32, 33 minus 5.
All right, Raz.
Raz is up.
The time of Raz.
It's the time of Raz. So the one that has Marshall is literally right.
It's right up next to the wall for us, like writhing at the surface. Wrapped around Marshall, biting at him. Like, it's right there. You can reach it from the edge of the boat, or the edge of the wall force, rather.
Well, can you go ahead? I'm going to cast a level 3 Agonizing Despair on him. It's a 60-foot range. Not on Marshall, on the snake. Make me a will save for the snake. Well, you're already in Agonizing Despair.
Fair.
I'm spreading my fear.
You spooked him.
Yeah, so I need him to go ahead and make me a will save, please. Thank you.
Okay, so as he, as a kind of almost feral reactive response to this here, I use a villain point as he attempts to kind of harden his will. That is not better. 27.
27 is going to fail.
Kind of thought it might.
And
And wild animal don't have a good will save.
In his bestial mind, he goes from this giant 150-foot long snake down to a guppy, in which he just swims right into Marshall's mouth and gets eaten as his fears become very much so real in his mind. He takes 4d6 mental damage, which is a total of
That looks like a
6,
good
12,
46 roll.
17, 20. 20 mental damage, and he is frightened 2.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
And then don't have my horn. He's
You're
as
bringing
he
Toad down
inspires
the water.
defense.
All right, so Inspire Courage gone, Inspire Defense still going. Resume.
As this guppy finishes up this horrific bout of despair that he just had,
Definitely still having it.
he will visualize Marshall breaking out of his grip and picking him up like a spear and straightening him out in one go before breaking him in half over his knee. And I'm going to send a phantasmal killer his
Nobody
way.
has the confidence to visualize that, but you know, it's in there somewhere.
I appreciate you guys are using me as a motivation of fear.
I need a will save, my friend.
It's frightened 2.
That's higher. 30.
That is still going to fail.
Kind of thought it might. It's well say it's a kind of a wild animal. It's a
like
really
a-
big wild animal.
It's like,
but it's-
thought you might have. Where did
Good
my card
news
go? It's
is
right here. But I-
Not
I'm done.
dead
I'm done.
yet.
Thank you, Ross.
You're very welcome.
So he's going to take 86 mental damage from me.
He's gonna have a heart attack. He might actually. This might kill him.
The setup.
heart
He
attack and
grabbed
die.
Marshall. Worst idea.
Spit that out right now. It's not even in his mouth. He's just coiled around him.
10, 25, 30, 30, and he's still frightened too.
30 damage is gonna kill him.
So,
It just
Spear
goes
squad.
so what exactly happens? Because he's wrapped around me, right?
He just kind of.
He just, like-
He goes like a noodle.
Yeah, you feel like kind of noodle.
He's,
I kind of poke it with
the
the back
water's
into my.
probably a little warm.
Yeah, the top, like the head
He
of the
peed
thing,
himself.
the front of it sort of folds back upright. But its jaw just pointed up towards the roof of the cavern as it just sort of rolls to float kind of dangling in the water as it releases. Marshall literally just had a stroke and died.
He scared him to
Kind of look
death.
down at it and poke it with the back end of my
you
mouth.
literally scared him to death.
mental.
Just
damage.
remember, Pathfinder children, large monsters don't make will saves.
That is true.
Large dumb monsters don't make well saves.
So I get this back.
And then Resme will look over the side of the boat and see if she can even find where the other one in Trishik went.
Yeah, I imagine that Rasheen probably just dropped the fishing pole. So between your dark vision and
Well,
the
it's
fact of that.
trolling off the active.
Yeah, it's actually still down
It's still there until
you
I
would,
it, but there
yeah,
was the
you would
lizard.
definitely see the light illuminating just a serpent that is turning upwards and no sign of Trishik, but it would be almost impossible to see past this thing's enormous body.
And that's it.
That was actually this dude who was up next, so that's
Woo,
Marshall.
money.
Right?
Well, that was
No, this is no, because there was the slow one, which is this one. Because the one that was right before Machine is the one that
Oh, yeah,
ended
that's
up
right.
coming up. So this one is up next, and it's got a.
It's got the
It's still hungry. It's got a little lizard. Lizard is not nearly enough to feed this thing properly. And it is going to shoot up towards the boat, but jetting out towards Marshall as he's flailing in the water, seeming that he doesn't seem to be terribly bothered by the fate of other snack. He's gonna noodle his way up, almost just around the outside of the other snake before this maw reaches up, biting out towards Marshall. It's not gonna provoke because he's his 20-foot reach,
Oh, yeah.
so he's actually your like mutual reach.
This is.
He gets to snap. Yeah, it's weird when it's a natural attack because he's like swinging his face at you, and you
It's too quick. It's too many teeth.
he's too fast.
Oh,
It's gonna bite you for a 36 to hit.
it is not a crit, so it is a normal.
Not a crit's what we like to see here, honestly. Uh, 25 points of piercing damage,
Oh, 25,
and
that's not
well, you've been released by the previous one, and you had
bad.
a
-3, so 22.
yeah, 22. Sorry, you had a brief moment of freedom as you just kind of dropped, flailed in the water, trying to right yourself. Don't worry, you're held on to again. As you see Marshall bloop, shoot down beneath the surface as this thing in an instant drags him 20 feet under.
Oh dear.
Well, it's your turn at least.
I'm gonna try and break 3.
Reaction. Chavail, air bubble on his head.
Are you gonna? You see this globe just appear on your head, and you can breathe fine.
All right, athletics to get out of the sneaky snake.
Scuba helmet.
Feel like a 33. Well, I get +1, so that's 30.
No, you don't have inspired courage. You don't have inspired defense.
Oh,
Yeah.
Inspired courage stopped.
okay. I think a 34 might do it.
34 will not do it.
All right, well,
This thing's still got a hold of you, just again through sheer size. It's rare that Marshall gets out gigantic, but it's been happening a lot in Kovler.
apparently.
They have massive creatures down
All
here.
right,
Very
well, I'm
big
gonna try and
thumbs.
break free one more time.
All right, -5.
-5.
+2, -5, net loss.
I'm gonna go ahead and refocus on that.
Be friends here on the chat. Marshall,
Oh,
I vote to name the lizard Squidizard. He's
I
actually
appreciate
right there.
it.
He's totally chilling on the bottom of the monitor, completely unbothered that like
Seconded.
keyboard things are happening 3
30
inches away from him. He is chilling.
Big number.
That's not a big
That's
number.
not a big
Womp
number.
womp.
All right.
Yeah, one
so-
action left.
Well, since I can't get out of it, I'm going to psych myself up and prepare for the worst.
All right.
So I did that.
Rashid, you are still inside this thing's stomach.
Well, I'm going to attempt to cut my way out. So, let's see what happens.
How many billion turns can you hold your breath for?
Like minutes.
25 minutes.
So it's 25 minutes.
Okay.
That's
fair.
a lot of
Doesn't
rounds.
matter. Irrelevant. You will not run out of air down here. This thing will die of old age before you run out, before you suffocate. I know you have the Ruxy water or holding your breath thing,
That's a natural 1 on the attack roll.
which means that you are going to miss very badly.
Well,
Are you trying to claw your way out, like to escape?
no, like cut
Attack. Yeah, that's what
just
I thought.
literally
You were
digging
attacking
my
him, but
way
yeah,
out by
definitely gonna
attacking.
miss.
So I'm going to make a flat check because if this doesn't go through, I'm having a very bad time. So
Trishik's very bad today.
Ooh.
2 natural 1s.
Huh.
Ooh,
That's
you hate
impressive.
to you hate to see the 1
So
in
I'm
400 come out. Are you did?
Yes.
How much health do you have?
I have 13 health.
Okay, yeah, you were definitely unconscious.
Or 15, sorry.
Don't have line of effect to you.
You are
And 75. Well, no, it went up, so
you are definitely going to fall unconscious as you pass down into the acids of this thing's digestion. Hungry snack getting a snack. Rasheen.
Don't have line of effect to it.
Yeah, nobody has any idea where she is realistically.
I don't even did I even see him get eaten?
It was like 70 feet below when that happened. So like,
Well,
You can make the
did I
assumption.
just hear him go out in my head? Because I
Ooh,
can actually.
You would know. You have a telekinetic
I
connection.
do, and I can establish connection with him.
With your telekinetic connection, you would hear him go dark. You would hear him fall unconscious.
Trishik's in trouble under the water. I just heard him go dark.
Can't even see him.
And Dragonic Soul 221 in the chat. Compound despair. Way back to
Villain
3.
points. All right. Well, I can't see Trishik. I don't know where he is. Although Resme told me that much. Fishabail. Make my own air bubble, and I'm gonna dive in the water after where Marshall went.
So you can use your reaction.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's cool because you actually still get 3 actions.
Ain't it handy?
That's neat. So as you dive in, what's your speed?
My speed is 40.
Okay. So at 40, you can move 20 feet in a swim. So roll me. Well, you actually can't fail the athletics check. Even a natural 1, you'd still be fine.
I might critically succeed.
I mean, but 20 feet gets you down to the serpent because the serpent's only 20 feet under the water.
Okay, perfect.
And with the 40-foot base movement speed, you swim 20 on a regular success.
Perfect.
So you in one action can absolutely just swim straight down to this thing because the surface of the water is still mostly okay. Make me an athletics check to swim because you can maneuver through the giant corpse of the other serpent to make your way down to one that is very writhing, fighting Marshall underwater.
Fair enough. Athletics of 34.
34 will definitely let you get down to the serpent.
Perfect.
2 actions left.
All right, 2 actions left. Will save is bad. I'm staring it in the face. Dive Lanois. Hurt its brain.
Yeah.
It's got a will save, and so do I.
So this historically goes great for you.
So historically
It
goes
succeeded well the
spectacularly
last
for me.
time.
I have +1 to saves. I passed my own will save.
You hear the muffle.
40.
40 is a normal success, so it'll take half.
Wow.
So you succeed, so you critically succeed.
So I take none
You're
of my
taking
own
nothing,
damage.
he's taking half.
All right. So I
This
need.
one is not very injured.
So I need 18d6 times. So I can just. He takes half. I'll just roll 8. I'll just roll 96.
That's fair enough.
All right. Let's see here. That's 10, 20, 29, 35, 38 mental damage.
Okay.
And I'm like right in front of its face.
You are
So
right,
hopefully it stops attacking Marshall.
right there. Raz.
How far away is he from me?
20 feet beneath the boat.
Beneath.
Force about 5 feet beneath the surface. 'Cause it's like it's gotta be below the boat itself. So
So
like
he's within-
15. Well, 20 feet below the wall of force.
So he's within 60 feet of me.
You are not up.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
I'm casting Agonizing Despair again as a 6th level spell.
This is a signature?
Yeah.
Raz has agonizing despair as a signature spell.
I have
Yes.
Phantasmal
to ask a
Killer
lot of
as a
questions.
signature
I
spell.
guess. Well, he's been very clear. He's literally just here for vengeance, so I suppose it fits, actually. All right, well save. Again, these serpents they're not big fans of the fear emotion. They don't feel it very often. So, kind of refocuses his mind. Last time I hero-powered agonizing despair, it went down by 1. This time it went up by 10. 38.
That regular succeeds.
Okay.
He's gonna take half the damage, which I need 6 more d6. Someone, because I like rolling a bunch of
Just here.
dice.
It's this before, not after. It's here.
Because I like that
dice.
feeling.
Dice are good.
That's an awesome roll.
It's 5 6s.
Dang.
On how many d6s?
A lot. 10, right?
Oh yeah, 10. So
That's gonna be
6, 12, 24, 36, 7, 8, 9, 44, so 22. And he's frightened
22.
1. As pretty much the same image goes through his mind, but this time instead of him going small, unwrapping from Marshall just eats him whole. Marshall just gets bigger than him. Because what's gonna afraid of big fish, an even bigger fish.
Larger.
It's the other monster that's just off the map that's gonna come after the snakes. again.
Super guppy.
There's always a bigger
Now
fish.
there's
And
one
then,
action left, I believe, right?
It's just a dumb animal. You guys got this. I think. Am I being optimistic, Resume?
I'm about to do something so stupid I don't think it matters.
Inspire defense.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is monumentally stupid. Oh my god, am I really... he's my friend, he's my friend, he's my friend. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's gonna happen.
Oh god.
Alright. So, I could hear his thoughts before he went out.
Accurate.
I know he was inside the thing, right?
That's correct.
I'm going to dimension door inside it, because at 5th level, I don't need to be able to see where I'm going. I only need to be able to know where he is.
You got him, champ.
She's not wrong.
That's not wrong. So you
He suddenly feels more full.
man, I can't wait to see the rules as written YouTube comments on this one. You know vaguely where he was. So you just teleport yourself.
Inside the
Into the
gullet
serpent.
of this thing.
This thing is so large that the inside of its like digestive tract is a large enough space that you can blink into it. Upon arrival, you are immediately going to be battered by the outsides of his organs and muscle fibers.
Such is life.
And you are going to take 24 bludgeoning damage immediately.
Yes, I am.
You also cannot breathe and are grabbed.
Yes, I am.
But you are in the serpent.
Am I near Trishik?
It is impossible to see inside here.
I have dark vision.
And that only kind of helps, really. You only have one action left.
Yeah, but I have
can
a
make me a
one action
seek.
heal.
You definitely would not be able to, in
I can't
the
touch
instant
him.
of arrival, just whip out and touch him.
Okay.
You could make me a last action
I-
seek to try and find him.
I will. Okay, that's not horrible. That's gonna be 30.
The 30, looking through this roiling water, and he's just constantly flexing outsides of the organ as it's both constantly churning and battering everything, as well as excreting its own digestive enzymes that are starting to burn your skin. The good news is there's not much else in here but water and Trishik. You can see him, but you are not immediately on top of him. This thing is hundreds of feet long, and its gullet is a massive thing. You can
That's
see him a
fine.
distance away. Trishik, I need a death save.
This is just flat check, right?
This is just a flat O check.
That's a 19.
19 is good. As
I'm
he's
immediately dying
unconscious,
again.
He's gonna stabilize. You are still inside this thing, and it is immediately going to put you back to dying too.
But I didn't make it immediately
But
worse.
you did not immediately jump to 3, yeah, because you would have went to 2 from failing and 3 from the damage. So, like, you're definitely not going to stabilize and become conscious.
Why did he go?
Because he's taking damage.
'Cause he's
still
taking
swallowing
damage.
whole.
He's-
He's taking damage every turn.
Takes him up every time, yeah.
Stabilize, immediately hit again. It's like
Additionally-
persistent.
I need a fortitude save, because you're no longer conscious to hold your breath.
That part is what I looked at. Nothing in the rules about not holding your breath when you fall unconscious.
When you're unconscious... When you're unconscious in a place where you can't breathe, you immediately start suffocating.
See, that's
It
what
don't-
I was confused
Yeah,
about.
it only starts at DC 20, but the longer you're exposed to it, the worse it gets.
Well, that's a natural 1. So do I just lose my breath? Or am I immediately dead? I don't know how it works, because drowning just does damage now.
What's your total fortitude save?
What's your total fortitude save?
That is a 20, so it would be a fail. It's
So yeah, it's okay. A critical failure on a suffocation check is death.
okay. So yeah,
But-
it's a
but it's
19
DC
plus
20.
1, so it's a 20, meaning
So
that
it
I
succeeds, so it goes down a grade to a regular failure.
Thank you, pumping con.
Whoa.
So you roll one, I was like, I think you just died. But no, we're okay.
I'm confident that I'm dead. Like-
No, you're fine.
My rescue mission has
I take damage from this
a chance. You
because
have a problem.
now I take damage from this. I'm dying 3.
Do you have any hero points?
No.
You totally out?
Yeah, he blew him on, like,
Yeah.
trying
I can't
to
use
grab
them.
it.
Sticky hand.
Yeah, I chose to use them
Alright.
on trying to make it so it cannot bite
You
me.
will drop the dying 3 as you suffocate inside this thing's esophagus.
So now it's this thing's turn.
It is the thing's turn.
But I don't think it's going to try to kill him from the
No,
inside of him.
it's gonna have no intent.
Digest harder.
Flexes his
And
stomach muscles really
we got
hard.
2 hero points
Sword
incoming.
Needham and Min Andreas coming out
Woo!
with the live for Trishik. Living the dream that this.
Hashtag don't
If
die.
you want to use, we're just ending your turn. Minorest amount of fiat if you want to use one of those to re-roll the roll that we are still actively like.
Might as
Talking
well.
about-
We did that a lot
You want
with
those back?
with the council. So
Yeah.
Oh, with like a character that's like a little leeway on the like.
This-
It's obviously the chat wants to.
yeah,
It's
this
trying to
just
give you
has
more
not
clearly for
be
this.
a 1,
Be-
Literally
20.
not a 1 is what
Hey.
you're at.
not a 1.
All right, so you're just dying 2. You have 1 hero point. The snakes got a hold.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, pump your con score. It helps.
The snakes got a hold of Marshall.
He really got a
And,
hold on him.
What's holding on to you? It can't easily swallow you. You are a little bit too big for that.
Oh.
So it is going to first
It's rough.
bite down. Make me a fortitude save as its jaw compresses you. Hero point from the marshal.
Good flex.
Flex real good.
Mash A, man. Just hit that bump. It's
Better.
better.
Up.
+1 because it's a save, so that's 34.
And you critically succeed. You succeed, right? That succeeds.
Oh yeah, because it's Juggernaut, I critically
Right.
succeed. So yeah.
So as it attempts to crush and constrict you, you are so jacked that the 150-foot sea serpent is actually going to deal no damage attempting to constrict you.
Like it literally breaks a tooth off my muscles.
Resme is, or not Resme, Roshin is coming down to attempt to try to attack this thing as well now and is right nearby. And as its jaws are very occupied with the marshal, it is going to constrict around, and again, that tail underwater is just going to flick and lash towards you, Roshin.
Okay.
Constrict does not have the attack trait, because it's not a roll, it's a save. So this is a regular, full-blooded attack.
I mean, not constrictly speaking.
35 to hit you.
35 is just a normal hit. It's gonna crack into her.
Oh, what? That I rolled the wrong thing for that. I rolled the jaw attack. 28 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay, so that'll soak the temporary hit points, and then I have resistance from actually
So
both of
25
these.
points of bludgeoning
So I'm
damage.
down to just 15 health, to 15
Yeah.
damage for that.
Okay, fair enough. And this tail is going to grab on, wrapping around you, holding you underwater.
Okay.
It's got Marshall in its mouth, and it's got Rasheen in its tail. And it's got.
Got
Thing
love in
is-
its heart.
I'm not. You don't get grab cards anymore. If you're not, if your name isn't Raz, you're grabbed. It's got Trishik and Resme in its stomach.
Yeah.
Raz is on the boat
I am self.
by himself.
Don't you ever forget.
Seeing this thing writhing underwater in the light, you see it biting and holding Marshall, trying to eat him. You see it grappling Rashid as she stabs at it. Resme casts a spell and teleported away. Trishik's nowhere to be seen.
Resume was like, bye.
No, Resme was like, I'm about to do something really stupid. But you have no idea
She
what
didn't say that. You don't know what the stupid is, but it happened. Marshall,
Well, it's got a pretty good grip on me.
I never expected a monster to be grappling 4 members of the party simultaneously, but here we are.
Here we are.
I'm just gonna poke it in the eyeball with old Slappy. No
Hi.
point in getting
Stop.
out of it. It's just gonna keep re-grabbing me. So I doubt that's gonna do it.
Yeah, 27. It's kind of hard to get an angle. It's difficult to bring your blade to bear underwater, especially when this thing is holding you.
Well, I'm gonna try. Well, I'm gonna try again. -5.
Stab. Roll 20 for it.
Really?
Stop rolling 4s.
All right, I'm using it.
We glued dice jail shut to mount the camera, so they can't put it in dice jail anymore.
Third time's a charm. -10. 17. So
the
7
7.
plus 23 is 30.
30's not gonna.
It's not gonna do anything. Woo! Nothing.
Dude's swinging away, trying to lash at the thing's head. Rasheen at the other end, also held 20 feet underwater.
But breathing just fine
How are you breathing?
with air bubble.
Oh, you both air bubbled, right? You guys,
I
you
air
both-
bubbled.
You
I
both have your
Marshall
little
and I air bubbled
scuba
myself.
helmets on
I know
while you're
where
down
this
here
is
fighting.
the
Marshall,
long game.
Wild Zone Gaming's gonna you just getting direct blood infusion of hero points.
Appreciate it.
Roshin's gonna hold her righteous armament Morningstar into the water, I guess, over her head. But able to call out blush, and it's gonna glow with light with a focus point. And then she's going to bring this thing slamming down on the serpent's tail right in front of her. So hopefully it makes that sound if I hit it. That's a 13 on the die, pretty good. So I get +1 for the swing. That's gonna go to 14, so 15. That's a 35. Is it flat-footed?
No.
No, it's not.
It doesn't have feet.
I mean, it's
You're both-
wrapped a tail
You're
around
both
me.
sort of above it, yeah.
It doesn't have
it's-
feet.
It,
It's not even flat-tailed.
you become flat-footed. You don't become flat-footed if you grab, right? You're making me think now.
I thought you did.
Grabbing,
I thought you both like
you're
were technically
the one
Both
grab.
grabbed.
flat-footed? All right, he is actually flat-footed then.
How I've always
Which
played it.
is going to exactly counteract the -2 circumstance penalty for swinging a mace underwater.
Can I stab it with the pointy bit of the Morningstar? Because it does do piercing damage.
Then absolutely, yeah. Piercing is the only piercing. Doesn't slashing and bludgeoning both functionally. It's
Versatile
got
piercing.
cover basically. A Morningstar is really versatile piercing.
Yeah, it's got a big old spike
Got
on
a
the top
spiky
of it.
bit. All right, fair
It's
enough.
the VP.
But then with that 35, that absolutely will hit.
Beautiful. 1, 2, 3.
Unorthodox underwater
Stab the
combat.
big boy.
I mean, I got Slappy for a reason.
All right, so it also does a d6 of good damage. Is it going to take that?
It is not evil.
Didn't
it's
think so.
just big and
Okay.
hungry and mad.
All right, so let's see here. Oh, wow, it's a good roll. So let's see. It's a 16.
It's not
plus
evil. It's
8.
just unfortunate.
It's just 24. I'm at moderate curse. 34 piercing damage.
All right.
And actually, I've got another action left. I
Yeah.
can try to swing at it again, although I have to roll. This thing's got a tough hide, man. I can't.
It's pretty
crack
hard
it.
to get through.
I also got really bad pulls.
Very sturdy.
That's
Pretty
an
good roll,
18.
Good
though.
one, though.
Actually, that's exactly 5 higher than I rolled last time.
Hits it again.
I hit it again.
Stabbing it with a morning star.
Hit him again.
That's just how the weapon works.
That's how the weapon works, totally. Not as
Oh.
good a roll, though. So 11, 13, 13, and 10. 23 piercing.
Okay, so you're definitely starting to build up some visible, meaningful damage on this creature. You're starting to cut through it, and the waters are starting to cloud very heavily with a wide assortment of things blood. Raz,
All right, all right.
you're alone on the boat.
All right, all right.
Weirdly, in almost silence, as all of this is happening down 20 feet underwater, the movement is causing the water to flow some around the wall of force, but you can barely even hear the roaring cries of this sea serpent.
All right, the wall of force is there. I can do this. I can do this. And he's like, hops down onto the wall of force. Oh, it's not that deep. Okay, and then he skitters over to the edge and just throws a synaptic pulse down deep enough to where it's going to hit the serpent, but not those two. It's a 30-foot emanation.
Well, what's the rate? Oh, this thing is by far large enough.
Just
for you.
Yeah.
aiming way
Yeah,
off
you
at
just-
the body.
Yeah,
You can just throw it down there.
Throw it
Yeah, you're
far.
gonna stun a whole bunch of random crabs, but also hopefully
It's
a
not like
giant
fish.
lake monster.
Make me a will save.
Is it Will?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it?
Everything
Really?
on the entire occult list is
Everything I
well.
have is will
okay,
save.
That's
Because I was
awesome.
like, I don't know if it was like slow, where it's like 4-2 to resist the stun blast. No, it's blowing up your mind.
It's ready to take a sin nap.
He sucks at will saves. He sucks at will saves. So as he seems to really just hate your magic in particular, he doesn't want any of this. This is not that he doesn't want this
Just
magic.
spit out my friends.
He wants to eat your friends.
No.
You don't get both.
28.
He fails. That means he's stunned 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
He will
Nice.
get 1 action next turn.
This is combo.
Operation Resme.
So Resme is going to ignore the pain and not being able to breathe. And Trishik saved her life, and he went into the mouth of hell to do it when he didn't even know her. So it is time for her to repay the favor.
Get it back from Wangi.
And she is going to blast out a max level heal spell with reach.
I need you to make me a flat check. Wait, that is, isn't it? It does. You cannot cast anything with somatic component.
You
can't
can.
breathe. You can?
Yep.
Yeah.
You use a round to speak underwater.
Oh no, you actually are right. You can.
And that,
If you can cast. So this is just you are
Okay.
aware. You are underwater, holding your breath. What's your con modifier? Just out of curiosity.
+1.
So you know you can't hold your breath for that long. If you open your mouth to incant this spell, you are going to be letting out all of the breath you're currently holding.
Yeah.
You still need to make me. If you're doing the
It's not.
big version, then you still need to. It's 1 component per action. So if you're doing the reach, then it's
How do I
somatic.
tell if it's somatic?
It
It'll
says
say
V or
it up
S.
at the top.
2 actions, verbal, somatic.
It doesn't say that.
It tells you right here in the actions: verbal, somatic, material, somatic, verbal.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
just dumb.
So you need to make
It's
me,
at a different place on the heal card than it is everywhere else.
Yeah, because it depends on how many actions you use.
Yeah.
Because it's just
Okay,
somatic. He
gotcha.
actually has no verbal component if you're just touching. You need to make me a flat check, which is you are grabbed.
It's a 16, I think.
That's higher than 5. So with your reach and your 2 action heal, Trishik is going to get a bunch of health.
It's going to be 5, 6, 12, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 12, 20, 24, 30, 36. 25 plus 36 is 61 points of health.
That's a good chunk.
I am conscious.
And as you incant that using the last air that you have, you immediately fall unconscious. Not dying, you're just unconscious.
I'm hoping that my friend, now that he is conscious again,
You
will
are?
save
I
me.
don't know.
From
I got
being
places to be,
inside
like-
this thing, you are going to take 15 more points of bludgeoning damage, and I need a fortitude save for suffocation.
Sure.
It's rare someone's regular unconscious and at positive hit points. That doesn't come up terribly often.
Okay, that's going to be a 6, an 18, which is going to be a 36 36. No, 34. 34.
I could hand you this. Like, I got the unconscious card, but actually for for this edge case of drowning, almost everything on the unconscious card is actually wrong. Because normally you wake up where if you get
Take
healed
damage
or
or-
take damage,
yeah.
but like that's actually not how this works at all. So that card's you just unconscious. It does all the things you would expect it to do.
Mm-hmm.
Trishik, you wake up inside this thing's gullet as you feel Resme's magic fill you, and probably still don't feel great. You are wounded too, but you are conscious.
I don't know where the healing came from, do I?
Not immediately, but you are aware somebody healed you inside this thing's stomach.
Well, I'm gonna look around, get my bearings real quick, and then find the nearest wall of flesh and start cutting a way out. Because
Alright. Make
however
me,
I got healed, there needs to be a hole in this thing or I'm going to go unconscious
Give me a
again.
perception check.
For what?
To find a hole.
You said I saw you wanted to look for her.
No, I'm gonna look around, find the nearest wall.
Oh, you're just gonna. Well, that's not hard. Just start swinging. You're
Yeah.
inside it. Like pick a direction and swipe.
I don't know how I got healed, but I know that if I'm in here, if I continue to stay in here, I'm gonna need that again, and I don't know how hard that's gonna be for them to do. Natural 20. Is it flat-footed right now?
It's stunned. I mean, it's stunned.
It's grabbing, so it
It's
is.
grabbing.
Because I mean, I think with Swallow Hall, it might be flat. I think it's flat-footed to you regardless. I think I screwed that up last time. Not positive. You're literally inside it. It can't possibly dodge you.
You get. Yeah, it's
It-
flat-footed. Yeah, you get
Sneak
sneak attack. Yeah.
Just roll 20's forehead.
Well, 5, 10, 15, 26, 33 for a 66 total. I think I cut my way out.
What happens?
So,
That doesn't just cut your way out. You not only eviscerate your way out from the stomach of this creature, you kill it in the process, Trishik. What
So-
happens?
getting a bit feral, he rips and tears. He's not claws. He's biting, he's kicking, he rips out. He doesn't know biology about this thing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's getting through the wall, and on the way out, he found the heart.
Yeah.
Just-
That was
that
about
makes
where
sense.
it was down the track.
Happen to tear your way out through the most vital organs of this serpent. And as you rip your way free, the inside of it being a controlled and somewhat pressurized environment, as soon as you rip enough, the thing almost bursts outward, shooting you and Resme's unconscious body out into the water.
I'm just gonna.
And you can, yeah, you can clearly see each of you that
Yeah.
this thing goes limp. But let's go of you. Let's go
Well,
of Marshall.
I
and
still
starts to
have
kind
2
of-
actions.
You do still have 2 actions.
One action, consume heart.
Well, duh.
Well, I'm obviously gonna eat the heart.
Getting out. The
Right.
natural 20 is I eat the heart. Second action, Resme pops out with me. I'm going to swim over to her. And third action, I'm going to share breath. It's not a thing you can do, but I have plenty of breath. I'm going to make it so she's not drowning.
Lizard
Make
mouth.
me, what's your medicine proficiency?
Not at all, but I know you need to breathe. Blah, 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 blah.
Am I going to get
I have enough
Wait.
air that I can just
that's
blah, blah,
fair.
blah, blah, blah.
That's
You-
fair.
you
He's
can.
untrained enough to not know the difference between oxygen and carbon dioxide. so he's
Mom,
he's
am I getting lizard kisses?
He's trying his best.
Mom, am I
You two underwater and Rez somewhat from the surface here would see Trishik and Resme shoot out from inside this thing.
Are we going to second base?
That's 20.
He's stupid enough to not know the difference, but dumb enough not to care.
did it.
He just got lucky.
all. So as this is going on,
He doesn't need to know any better if he just gets lucky.
It's roll 20s.
so
Just roll 20s.
oh no.
Sure, Sheik's gone feral. He's eating resin.
So as this goes on, you just see Mega Marshall just kind of wiggle out of the corpse, and he kind of does the okay, just scoops you guys up while he's still big, puts you on the boat, and picks up Roshin and climbs on all fours and shrinks back down.
Resme, you wake up surrounded by blood and gore, coated in blood and gore. With Trishik, he's got a lizard mouth, so he's probably just like, ah. As you feel yourself getting lifted up out of the water. as
Well,
you're getting
unfortunately for Sharik, I'm about to baby him with salt water. She immediately called for salt water to try to get it out for
Wait,
you.
it's not salt water.
It's
It's
fresh
fresh water.
It is lake water.
Lake water?
So it's not salty, but it is not potable either. So,
It's not.
It's very
actually,
gross.
It might be salty because of all the tears.
but yeah, as you blow air into Resume Slug, she regurgitates lake water into you.
That's
This-
fine. There's plenty of air in there.
This is
I've
lizard
gone
love.
through about 10 rounds so far. We got
I
plenty.
think you're legally married now by most Iraqi legal code.
Wait, did I just wait? Is this it? Is this it? Was this how it was supposed to happen the whole time?
No one saw that ship sailing.
Oh, congratulations to you both. I'm so happy for you.
Raz, you see that your entire party, Marshall, as he's, with the last of his rage here, scooping these two out of the water as he pulls himself up, shrinking back down. Rasheen clambering up over the side of the boat. It's your party all emerging from the blood cloud that is becoming the lake here, with bits of the serpent visible still rolling across the surface.
Prestidigitation.
Oh, is she all right?
I'm just picking heart meat out from my teeth with my claws.
Trishik was stuck inside the monster, and I felt like I needed to go get him.
You did good.
How'd you get inside it?
Well, you see,
There's a poof and a pip, and
You
then she was
under-
gone.
you need to understand that.
Are you serious?
Well, if
Are
you
you insane?
look, if you want to know the monster, if you want to beat the monster, you have to get inside the monster's
That's not at all
head.
true.
And I took it literally.
That is exactly true. I know exactly where to find their huts now.
That's good.
Goodness
Trishik, are you
gracious.
okay? He was
Not at all, but we survive.
He was dead. His thoughts in my head winked out, and I knew if I didn't go in there and get him, he wasn't gonna live.
Yeah, you're babbling something about that.
And so, I knew that I was gonna be okay because he was gonna get up and save me. So I just took it on faith, and I went in there and I did stupid things.
I mean,
And
fair
then-
enough.
That
I simply saved them.
It worked out. It
was
worked out.
easy.
Marshall comes up to you specifically. Oh, lassie, you can make an old man proud.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
I pull out some of my dwarvish, moonshine. You deserve for some of this.
Oh, okay.
Esme, before you start slurring, you said you could do something to make me be able to swim better.
Can I have that, please?
She'll put her hand on your chest and choke out and choke out something
me
that
out.
sounds like fish noises and cast feet to fins on you.
Yeah.
You got duck.
Your feet will immediately,
Slap,
not your arm
slap,
wrong,
slap,
but your feet will immediately extend and distort to become fins. They're no longer great at standing. And
Is this what you're talking about?
you in the boat, or you just like on the side of the boat?
I think I
still?
was up. I was probably like waiting in the water.
Okay, fair. So at least you don't fall down immediately.
What?
I guess that's will work.
What did you think I was gonna do?
I don't. It's magic. I didn't know.
It's good. It means that you'll be able to help me take boat back.
Well, we're not just taking the boats back. We have to go get those things and bring them back too.
I mean, when you think about it, I'm kind of really Raz saved us because he created the 4C wall of stand-on
It was
thing.
very well done. Did you
It
see it
was
smash
really,
into it?
really
Sprinted
good.
feet, his teeth everywhere.
That made all the fear in my body leave immediately.
Spectacular to see.
I think some of it probably came back later, but
Yeah, no, it was there the entire time. It never left.
He channeled it into.
I
the
mean,
I'm
certainly
super-
appreciated it.
I'm gonna be honest with you folks. I'm really, 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 really happy you guys were in the water and not me.
Just,
Yeah, I'm probably happy about that too. Actually,
if no one minds, I'm gonna throw up some more salt water now.
oh, you poor dear.
Resume literally teleported into a giant monster, went unconscious at the own stupidity of her plan, and then woke back up being kissed by a lizard.
the greatest part of this
I mean,
is
that's-
like that we have the good dice cams today specifically because there were so like you
A
had
1
to
into a 1,
fail
and
an
then a 20 into a
80%
20.
success twice to not be able to cape out,
And I did it.
and then she teleported after you, throwing an if she also fails, you both definitely die because she just loses the spell, still goes unconscious, and she just dies with you.
And we never saw them
And
again.
then you roll a natural 20 to hit the rupture value of this thing to actually get out. Like, it's It was the dumbest plan I've ever heard in my life. And it somehow actually worked.
I mean,
you
this
know
is
why?
the Heroes of
You,
Breach
you know why it worked? Because
Why?
they're here. Because she's a hero.
I'm just here rolling 20s.
This is, I guess, somehow how Resme is still alive. Just
Gotta note that.
complete ability to disregard the odds of death.
I mean, if you think about them too hard, then you end up dying. As long as you realize that anything's possible, anything's possible.
So, you have feet defense now, Rasheen. What are you doing?
First, she's gonna duck waddle over to the boat, get 2 coils of
We
rope
have
out,
to push the boat off.
No,
of
it
the
ends
wall.
after a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
and then
This
she's
boat.
gonna dive back down after the snake bodies. Any chance they float?
I would imagine that due to the fact that they come to the surface, they have those ballast organs. If they're not intentionally filling water, the top half of it at least would float.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
all that
The
matters.
rest of it would kind of sink. So the whole thing's not going to sink down to the floor.
All we need
But,
is the head.
Yeah.
No, we're bringing the whole thing.
Ah, for God's sake.
Roshin's gonna tie.
Resume will
I was about to
start
ask for a-
casting shrink item.
Technically,
Actually, that's true. That'd work.
it's too big.
What was
Eight-
your plan?
Tow it.
Yeah.
You have a rowboat.
Yeah, we have a marshal
We have this.
There's like 6 tons of snake thing.
in water.
I mean, it would definitely take a long time.
I mean,
we have Marshall and Roshin. I mean, I'm sure they can get something.
I mean,
done.
between feet defense on us both, we could probably do it.
I mean, all
Resme,
I
how many
need-
hero points are you at?
2.
Would you like a third?
Oh,
From
yes,
Ghost
I
to
would.
the Zen, Resme for the save. Probably
Thank
have
you,
to pass
Ghost.
this
In all
direction.
fairness, I
and
only
go
need a
down.
minute to recover my rage, and then I can grow big again and just tow the rest of it.
Well, you in all fairness, you can't rage outside of combat. We let you do big Mimi things, but you can't like actually use your rage for mechanical advantage.
Can you
outside of combat.
wage outside of combat?
no.
No.
Oh, all right.
You can only rage in a non-trivial combat encounter.
I mean, Roshi, you should fight me.
So, more realistically, what we'll probably do is cut off both of their heads, shrink both of their heads, because the creatures by themselves way surpass the bulk limit of shrink item.
They definitely. Well, yeah, these are much larger than a beta. These are like
So we'll
orders
just-
of magnitude
We'll
larger
take
than a
both
beta.
heads, shrink them down, and take that back as proof.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of good fish meat, though, and they
Yeah, it's
haven't
good
had
for the
any fish.
crabs. We have to let the crabs repopulate.
I mean, actually, that is
Yeah.
an excellent idea for their ecosystem. I mean, this is their breeding ground. If you put a huge amount of meat down here,
corpses.
That's true. The crab's gonna have a freaking field day.
So, who is at least? Is anybody an expert in nature?
No.
I know how to cut some meat, though.
I could be.
I'm a
Give
master.
me some crab lore, my boy.
Crab
I
lore.
could be.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know to be.
I know they're crabs.
Oh,
I
sorry.
rolled a 30. Oh, I mean, I rolled a 21.
Yeah, you know they're crabs. The fact that these creatures here, these massive, incredibly destructive serpents,
I rolled 20.
seem to be this far towards the wall, like even near the spawning ground at all. You're several hundred yards away from the cavern wall now, but still, this depth doesn't really seem realistic to support these things. Them being here could very well be the reason that there is at least a crab shortage here.
Can I also roll knowledge?
You wouldn't. Well, it's like you wouldn't.
I just want to lay another 20 on the table.
Alright, you roll me a nature. If you literally roll a 20, I will let you be a part of the people who know things club.
I'm trained in.
That
Nice roll, idiot.
I'm trained
Put
in
it in the
nature.
tray.
I'm guessing that doesn't help.
It wouldn't be enough to like really realization. Yeah.
it was a 20 over here, where it missed the dice tray and doesn't count.
See, I didn't study crabs. I didn't study marine biology.
You're not a
in school.
crabologist. Yeah.
I'm not.
You're not a crab scientist.
I
I
mean-
fell asleep during those classes.
You are Rattenborough, though.
So while this is going on, can I potato?
You can absolutely potato.
I would
mean,
also-
it's gonna take at least 10 minutes to shrink down each serpent head if you're gonna hack them free, and probably 10 minutes to hack through enough bone and sinew to detach a serpent head. So you got time.
23.
23 will absolutely succeed. You will get 2d8. You're just trained, right?
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
trying.
2d8 potato health back.
If
And-
it would not be trouble, a little healing would be nice.
Oh yes, of course I have you. Krasach.
Quite bruised.
Better than nothing. I'll take it.
I'm gonna drop one of those on myself once I'm done shrinking
Oh, and
items.
Marshall, you look like it's chewed on you pretty badly.
Just a bit.
Oh, wow. Nice. Let's see, 16, 20, 25 plus 40, 65 health back for
How much?
65 for Chushi, but hang on,
Oh.
working on you.
I
okay.
feel
My bad.
much better, and I will gladly take the time to remove the heads of these creatures.
All right, so you're gonna work slowly hacking away at this while our magically inclined members of your party are tending to the pretty severe wounds that these lake serpents have put out. What are you doing, Raz? What's going on?
Breathing. I just want to go back to shore. Keeping an eye out for any more. Because there's 2. There might be more.
The word two.
It wasn't just
I mean,
one.
you're not familiar with these things, so you've really no idea if they live in
Good
colonies of several dozen, perhaps.
Good news. If there's more, you know it takes one at least 3 rounds to finish killing me.
Takes almost 15 seconds to murder me.
Dude, this is Pathfinder 2nd edition. You are always 3 rounds away from death.
Yeah.
I mean, the same could definitely be said of first edition.
No,
too, though. I mean,
not
like,
really.
Absolutely. Like, if they level 12 in first edition, that's a status effect at that point. It's just assumed half your party's going to die every other encounter, and you're just going to go find
you
some
also
zombies
have
and raid
ready.
them.
But it's okay, but they're not real dead. They're
Not real
they're
dead.
for
Yeah,
fake
regular dead is just
They're
unconscious
only
plus.
mostly
It's
dead.
comic book
It's,
dead.
yeah, it's like disintegrate is when you start running into problems around this level in first edition, because regular dead is unconscious plus by level 12.
When you get to minute, get Marshall to rub some potato starch into those wounds to keep them all
How
closed up.
does
We'll
your
keep
chic
them.
look?
Perfectly fine now, like just a couple of scrapes,
Resme looks like she's had
a
about
couple of
3
acid
bites.
burns maybe.
You know, she looks like
3
she has had acid eaten at her body, but other than that, she looks fab. This is like a skin peel.
Raz is fine. Raz
Raz is perfectly fine. Actually, while Resme is throwing up still and retching and just breathing, he's gonna go over and just kind of clean out her hair a little bit with his little rat paws.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And he's gonna
You're
hum
grooming me.
He's gonna hum a little lullaby and cast a 2nd level soothe on her. You did
Oh.
good. You did
Well-
good, kid.
While you're rolling that, happy belated birthday to Roshin, whose birthday it was yesterday.
Thank you, thank you.
But since he hasn't spent points in honor of birthday, Trishik, don't die, and praise Centipede. Mirne 1116 with a hero point.
Just my 6th point of the session, no big deal.
You guys
And the
got
moral of the
through it.
story is
It was a good day to have a lot of hero points. On
It
the
was.
Table. This is definitely an encounter that, you know, as
18.
you're in preparation of.
I'll take it. That
Oh.
almost brings me back up to full.
Oh, God.
They can kill people.
And it didn't even go nearly as badly as I thought it would do the Wall of Force thing.
Thank you,
because
Wall of Force.
I kind of
Wall of
assumed he would
Force.
dunk all of you in the water immediately with the ability called capsize, which would just flip the boat over instantly.
Morin has a
Um,
good point. I don't get them because I deserve them.
He gets them because he uses them.
It's true. It's true. I'm bad at spending points.
Powered by chat.
How
So
could
you-
I roll so many 20s if on average I didn't roll twice as many dice as everyone else?
Everything fell perfectly for the Wall of Force.
The Wall of
Like
Force.
as soon as we got on the boat, I'm like
Nope, 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 nope.
I was ready. Like, I'm gonna roll a 1 on initiative. Watch this.
Yeah, then you super one, so because if you did it later, if you lost an issue, that dude was gonna go whoop.
Yep.
The Wall of Force was peak genius, man.
That was
Pretty good.
spectacular.
So, you spend some time casting some restorative magics using your various heals, eating some potatoes in the corner,
And then I cast
Getting
Honey, I
treat
Shrunk the
wounded.
Squids.
and Trishik still is looking pretty dramatically wounded after all of that,
Not really.
which is going to take some pretty serious and some actual medical attention. It's more than just simple magics can cure, which is a weird concept because like the magic can heal a whole lot of surface level sword wounds and whatnot. It cannot put your organs back together particularly good. You need some actual medicinal
I
attention.
feel like
for
the
that.
magic like takes away a lot of the pain.
Yeah, it's probably more like dulling pain, making sure that you're not going to like immediately die of internal bleeding or anything like
Oh,
that.
okay, this is an interesting question.
So-
I felt unconscious. I wasn't knocked unconscious.
you
Am
weren't-
I wounded?
No, you weren't. Wounded is when you go to dying.
Okay, that's
You never went to negative health points. You were unconscious because you were suffocated.
okay. I was pretty sure that was the way it
Yeah,
worked, but I
that's-
wanted to confirm.
Yeah, suffocation and drowning is a very unique form of unconscious.
Yeah, like I wasn't sure if that counted in second
Yeah,
edition
I
as
actually
wounded.
had the core rulebook
Okay, cool.
open in my lab to the drowning page because I was just there. It's 478. I was literally just there.
It's one of those rollings that it's like, how do you figure this
Yeah,
out?
because it was where I looked at this for the drowning, because I was like, well, suffocation's definitely about to start happening. And there's also a whole lot of various underwater things. They did the thing I really felt like should happen in first edition. You literally cannot cast any fire spells underwater, period. Shut up. You can't cast anything with a fire trait.
It's all right. That's why electricity was invented.
And while you actually have resistance 5 to acid and fire while you're underwater. You don't have any, like, weakness to electricity, but you have resistance to acid and fire. And you take a -2 penalty to any melee, slashing, or bludgeoning attacks. And any ranged attacks deal bludgeoning or slashing damage automatically fail if either the attacker or the target's underwater.
Interesting.
And piercing ranged attacks have a halved range increment. There's actually a bunch of water rules I just found. Look, out and dying horribly rules. So, you know, it's actually kind of convenient in some cases. As much as it's been nice the whole time we've been running this, having a screen and a keyboard to Google stuff and have archives and Nethys pages open really quickly, there is something to be said for the actual rulebook. Because I literally would have just had the drowning and suffocation page open and not seen all the rest of the underwater rules that are adjacent to it in the rules.
I own 3 copies of the core rulebook
I think I have 2.
because when we run games at my home, I just like have them spread across the table for players to look at.
This is my main one. So, after all of this healing and readying and taking some amount of time to sever the massive heads of these serpents, which are still 15, 20 feet across, their skulls easily the size of a boat. Do you have 2 castings of your...
I've spent all of like 2 spells.
All right, sorry, sir. So you would, with another 20 minutes, be able to shrink down both heads of the sea serpents down to probably, they were so large, they'd probably still be hand-sized wherever you could stuff them, so they will retain that size for the time being.
All right. Anybody else want anything shrunk aside from my ego?
You did great. Spectacular. You saved Trishik's life and didn't die in the process.
Mr. Trishik, and I just hold up a book that has a diagram of the sea, like a rough sketch of the sea serpents. Where exactly was its heart? What would you say it was hard? Like long.
Looking down towards the one that I popped out of. Well, you see this. That big body lying over here.
You really can't see crap in the water at this point. There's so much blood because these 2 serpents have been eviscerated and probably have hundreds of gallons of blood apiece that is now diffusing through the lake.
I will point into the goop, and you see it's approximately right there.
Oh, okay.
Over in the goopy bit.
All right.
If I had to point a diagram, maybe about... This is not as big as snake.
Here, let me draw Trishik's scale. I'll just draw a little tiny, like a speck. Trishik scale.
Okay, it's right there then. Not too far.
Can we get back on the boat and go home?
We've been on the boat.
I imagine you've been in the boat.
I want to go back. I want to go back to and
Same.
I want a bath. I want to get dressed, and then I want to go drop these heads in front of some dwarves and watch them expand out to their actual size, so we can impress them.
Oh, we should do that right on the docks.
Yes!
Mount them up, piling or something.
It could
So-
be entering city from the water. Have one on each side.
I guess I could preserve them.
They are. Yeah, they're big, fleshy, gory heads right now. They're not pleasant to look at.
You can clean out the inside.
Yeah,
make
but
it
you
just-
haven't.
Oh, just let the fishermen
It'd
do
be
that.
easy
They'll know
to
how
do
to
with
do
them.
it.
So
Can't really manipulate. If you start manipulating the tiny one, it's gonna grow back to size.
Well, I have a question though. If I want to make like something like formaldehyde, something that would actually preserve it, I don't need to make that much of it when they're this size.
You
for
would.
Crying
You-
out loud.
You wouldn't
Gentle
be able...
repose. Gentle repose. There.
Oh, thanks,
It's
Sheeny.
fine.
Thanks, Sheeny.
They'll keep and keep forever.
Oh, you're such a sweetheart.
I seriously burned
used-
2 level 4s on that.
Peak use of divine spells.
Well, the group, you've got about an hour of rowing to decide what it is you're going to do to get your gentle reposes, figure out how you're going to reveal these massive serpent heads to the good dwarven populace of Kovler.
Oh, I think we should just totally just stick them on pilings right there.
And by the time you get back, I actually, with all the studio manipulation, where we're at on the Forge Day timescale, this day started in the middle of a Forge Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think so, yeah.
So it would actually be about the beginning of the Forge night when you return. It would be like the dwarven equivalent of sundown. It'd be the final hour. And as you would an hour later finally get your boat into the docks, the pounding of the anvils within Kovler is audible as ever, and it is an hour, what would be the twilight hour on the surface before sundown, the hour of the anvil for the Forge Day, which is kind of a tongue-in-cheek sort of moniker they've given the last hour of the actual Forge Day for all of the either apprentices or just those with poor planning frantically hammering away, trying to finish the last bits and touches of their works before the forges are doused for the evening, the lights are out, and the hammers ring out no longer. The hour of the anvil, ironically the last hour of light, probably the loudest in the city just in general.
And to add to that noise, as soon as we dock, I just pull out the trumpet and blare as loudly as I can.
How loud is that, Tiny Rat Lungs?
Well, how loud
to
can a
do
trumpet
force
get?
A trumpet can get very loud.
Exactly.
This one's loud enough to do force damage.
Oh, the horn of blasting?
Yes. Just
And
to get as much attention as we can.
your
It will
boat
ring in the deep
coming
one last
in
time.
definitely startle a couple of the fishermen who are bringing in their cages and their lines, who don't seem to be doing a whole lot of actual work in the water at this point, so much as recalling and collecting all of their gear. A couple of jumps and swears in Dwarven from the cobbler population, and a couple of very dirty looks from the various fishermen who've had their work interrupted for the end of the Forge Day. But you have everyone's attention.
Do you have an aquarium? Or like a museum or something?
You just asking some random fisherman that's nearby. The nearest fisherman. He's a bit older. He's got pretty hardened and wrinkled skin. Gray starting to show through the center of his beard. And a big handkerchief drawn around his hair. Only a couple of braids hanging down to about the nape of his neck visible behind. A what?
Oh, never mind. Hey,
I'm looking to return this tackle.
You speak Dwarven? I imagine she's talking
Yeah.
to random dwarves in Dwarven.
If,
Yeah.
if Roshin tries to talk to dwarves, I will translate.
I'm still trying to return the tackle. I mean, I
That's
borrowed
fair.
it from somebody
Oh,
who's
the
probably a
fishing
dwarf.
thing. I kind of look up. Shouts off down the dock. Gets the attention of a couple of other dwarves who come down and would take the fishing line and the rod back from you.
do you want to call? Can you use your thingy to get a hold of the captain of the guards? So
Oh
we
yes,
can-
yes, and quite, of course.
We should tell him it's.
It would definitely have the attention of a couple of the guards at
Yes.
the pier, actually,
Well,
from
we
the
want their
blast of the
boss.
trumpet who would have made their way down. The ones nearest to the docks, the ones that just have the leather jerkins, no actual heavy armor. One with a very light chain shirt, both with swords at their hips and massive square shields across their back, who would have came down, sort of hustling, sort of confused, to the boat, to the group of you. Your incredibly blood-stained boat that you have brought back in, and the various states of injury that you all still have.
Everyone has been prestidigitationed.
I was the.
You only had an hour to prestidigitate. You were only going to get so far on
I
was
the
literally
engine,
submerged in
so-
sea serpent blood and gore chunks.
Oh yes. Could you two get us a meeting with Commander Bronzebeard? We have new regarding the investigation of the lake. I'm hoping that the guards who patrol the foreign quarter actually
Kind of look at each other like to. Fordushin?
I'll translate.
It would be fine.
And I'll ask.
He looks at you and looks at Marshall. Fordushin? And Dwarven.
Just roll 20s, forehead.
If Raz is with
basically
Roshin,
say to him-
Roshin starts talking to a native speaker,
Raz
Raz
is
is translating for her.
So
'Cause she forgets.
assume a translation in Dwarven. I imagine near the Forge Knight, probably in the Guild of Arms.
We're gonna need him to come down here. Believe me, this won't fit.
We'll need an open space.
Is this urgent?
Yeah.
Commander
Yeah.
ain't gonna be happy about
Show
this.
him one. Just show him one.
Fine.
You got two.
Resme will do a little kind of like princess sorcerer magical girl twirl and toss one of the heads, and on the dock it will explode into a giant serpent head.
Bursting into a several 100-pound head, which slams into the stone, blood spraying out from behind it as it smacks.
How's that for urgency?
Immediately, the guards jump back. By Thorax, chisel! What?
Resume is a magical gore.
That
I'll
urgent.
fetch the commander! Takes off running down the pier, and the other guard just kind of standing back, one hand on his sword.
It said,
into this massive. You say that in Dwarven. He looks at this literal decapitated ragged head. It's dead.
Yes, it's dead. It's dead.
I mean, sure.
Well, that's just the head. The rest of the body was like 250 feet long.
He kind of shuffles his feet a little bit. Looks at it.
It's got 20-foot reach. It's gonna get me.
Just the head.
This is how you bloody do things on the surface.
If
So bad spit's flying from his
I
mouth.
look at him. Let us cock my head. Solve the problem? Yeah, we solved the problem.
And as we left off a few episodes ago with the Archmage arriving to assess your job at the wall, Commander Bronzebeard is coming down with a fair bit of time left in this hour of the anvil before the Forge Night to assess, well, what's almost certainly demonstrably a much better job, probably.
we brought the situation to a head.
Right, just like, show him the other one.
No.
Show him the other one.
Next
Not gonna
week,
do it.
Next week, Commander Bronzebeard arrives. We can fill him in on the situation, what we've discovered, and the incredible, massive trophy that is going to be kind of difficult to remove from the docks. But we'll figure that out at a later occasion. That's a problem for future them.
Shrink
not
it
us.
again.
Drink item again.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
So, chat,
Ow.
we did it. There were some hiccups. There were some problems. There's some difficulties.
I almost died.
We had almost 2 deaths.
I feel
Once
fine.
I was awake, that's a guaranteed life. You don't got to worry about that anymore. Because I just rolled 20.
You see, I've learned in my experience with Yoshi, he's an undercover hero.
We managed to migrate our hull setup to an entirely different setup in a week's time and get it to functional. Get it to functional. Is it perfect? No. I know there's been some like kind of stuttering and lagging issues. I'm pretty sure I know what that is, and I can fix it for next week. It just wasn't something I could do on the fly. It is either A, unlikely but hopeful a driver issue, it's an easy fix, or B, I just need to turn down the resolution of these 2 webcams because it is just
Too much of a
4
suck.
camcorders and 2 webcams might be a little bit too much for the CPU to handle. It is a girthy lad of a CPU, but there is unfortunately a limit. We got everything. We got everything here, and now we get to fill it with beautiful things. All the cool ambiance that we had in the previous setup. We have so much more space. It's just so much better.
I
we
love
could
this
fit
place.
an entire beta in here.
How is not literally being shoulder to shoulder with each
Listen,
other?
I have a
With
12-foot long wingspan, so being able to like, dude, just do this without bumping Nick every 5 seconds.
you are the biggest change. I can definitely see. I have to get used to not doing this because if I do this, my hand is in your camera.
Yeah.
But I'm really used to pointing at things. I have to just point to reserve fashion back here.
There you go.
And I can do that. But you have all sorts of space. You have so much room. You're not clinging desperately to the corner of the table anymore.
I can move. I
Which-
can actually like do stuff.
You've also like halved your travel time to the show, I think.
You cut it by it's 45 minutes from where I work to here.
What do you work
Instead
at
of-
a triangle from?
So it's 100 and it's an hour and 10 minutes from to the old location.
I want you to imagine
We
the
chopped a
most
third off of it.
middle
for
of
you.
nowhere, useless place on the entire planet. He lives about 10 minutes from there.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Or at least works.
No,
there.
I work in the most useless place in the entire planet.
That's fair.
So, everybody, thank you for coming and hanging out. We also didn't get dunked by the storm, so that was cool too.
Yeah, that was cool.
Thank you for coming out and being with us. Pardon our work in progress setup here, but I think it went pretty good.
I mean,
For our
lot
first-
are you
first shot
kidding
at
me?
this.
For like a new stream?
For a new stream
This is
with
ridiculous.
an entirely 100% new setup that includes some entirely new hardware, like new cameras and everything,
This was boss.
we're doing
amazing.
good. We will see you all here next week. Same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, twitch.tv/official Paizo. Of course, thank you so much
Thank you, Paizo.
for sponsoring us.
Thank you, Double Hat
2
Man.
of hats. We'll see y'all then. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, everybody.